I don't know if there's anything to talk about. Then I had to go buy another laptop and just been running, and I knew I had to set all this shit up. But Brennan had a good point. Dad, you're done. Now you can just relax after the podcast. And I've been more tired. You know, can we just jump right into it?
Let's go. We're here.
Do it. Well, I will
Casey
say, just make
Spicer.
sure you talk into the mic. If you turn, it will be echoey.
Yeah, well, that's why I had him
just
away.
do your best.
Okay.
He sounds good there for me.
He does. He does.
Casey Spicer's, I don't remember what your last episode was, but it was just you and I. So now you're back for the second time. I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
We've been talking about getting recurring guests back on.
Mhm.
And, you know, the first one, not that there was any nerves, but you learn things on the first one and you think, oh, I want to revisit that. And so I'm excited about having recurring guests, and I'm excited that Carlos is on, and I'm sure he's AI'd your podcast since we did it last. So he's probably
I went and watched it. Yeah.
okay. So he's at least familiar with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, second one.
I'm very excited. But the first one, I was a little uptight.
Yeah. Yeah, but you pushed right through it.
I did.
I can always tell, but yeah,
I
it's
did.
anytime
I
the
think you
cameras are on,
loosened
it's
up.
awkward.
You loosened up though.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope it's pretty comfortable.
I love the new space. This is very comfortable.
It worked out.
But I was actually thinking about on the way here, I think why I was so uptight the first time was because I was following Joy Rich, who is like a force of nature. So it's like, how do you follow
It's
that?
funny.
Technically, he is again.
He is again.
Because
Oh boy.
But nobody knows.
But nobody
nobody
knows.
knows who's
Yeah.
following who because we're so many weeks out.
so if we stay in order, this episode would come out after Joy Rich's episode.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But that was a good one too. That was a really good
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, and then my kids are going to follow you.
I can't wait for that.
Ooh.
All three of them on the couch.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Oh,
be
I
in the
can't
corner.
wait.
Well, it was supposed to be for episode 52. It might end up being episode 51. Thanks to Carlos.
I'm not sorry.
I can blame it on you.
I'm not
you
sorry.
You
I
accept
will
full
own it.
responsibility.
I
for
will
that one.
1000% own it.
We don't have to talk about it.
Let's not.
Although it was pretty funny. I've never seen Carlos more
We'll
uncomfortable
fill
in
you
my
in
life.
offline.
And Carlos, the whole podcast was him saying, "Take me out of this. Just delete me from the whole podcast."
Yeah.
Which Brennan saw me having a conversation about the topics that would have came up during that podcast. And I was like, I have a line of thought here I need to process. And what do you think, Brennan? I was right?
I'd say so.
Okay. Brennan's got a microphone now. We can all hear him.
I love this. I like
Yeah.
that you can chime in.
Yeah. The next week, you'll be in his seat.
Yeah. I'm
And
looking forward
I'm
to
going to
it.
spin the camera around and just point it that way for you. And then we'll get it all.
It's gonna be in there later.
Speaking of cameras and pain in the butt, some of these podcasts were just out of focus. And I want to be able to walk in, flip a switch, and start
I
recording.
know. Growing pains.
When I move cameras to different locations, oh my word.
We got to get Rocky back in here for another one. That sounds
Rocky was a good one.
Rocky. You would really like Rocky.
You may have seen
Yeah.
his episode.
Yeah.
He had a beard. He was a biker, died twice.
Oh no, that's on my playlist. I gotta
Okay.
get through that one.
Yeah. That's a really good. The audio came in and out a few times,
Yeah.
but man,
I had
hard hitting.
I was
Hard
running
hitting.
a digital filter, experimenting, so in case my dog barked. The problem was when he'd turn his head, it would filter him out. So there was a lot of missing audio. So Casey asked me what we was going to talk about. I said we're going to wing it, but I did have some ideas. I don't remember what I text you, and we can get them to them at any point. But if there's anything on anyone's mind, start before I take off.
So I know one of the big ones that I really don't want to talk about is when I was on your podcast last time, we kind of got into the mental health and how basically the last years of my life have been the most formative through therapy and really working myself towards improving. And so for me, it's a big thing of where I've been reflecting a lot on the lessons that I learned through military experience, through EMS experience, and then kind of looking back on a lot of my leadership wasn't exactly learned in the moment. It was learned on reflecting and having those hard conversations of where it's like, yeah, you did not do that correctly, and you need to make sure you don't do that again.
I think that's the only way you learn and grow.
No, well,
there needs to be a reflection process. You know, that's why I love that order and chaos the beginning of the podcast is balance. You learn, you get experience in chaos, in the unknown, and you don't quite know how to handle it. And then the other side of that is the balance side is order, which is where you reflect on your life choices.
Yeah, the man who's never made a mistake has never learned anything.
Yeah, well, there's another saying. If you don't like an attempt, I don't remember what it is. You never do anything. I don't know. There's something more eloquent. I can't remember what it was. It was
That's
a
100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's
Wayne
well, that's
Gretzky.
one of them. Gretzky, yeah.
Gretzky.
But I'd say one
Michael
of the biggest things for me that really I had to come to grips with to go through that journey was that so if somebody asked me if like I was a good Marine, like I can honestly at this point like I really don't feel like I was. When I talk to people about they want to go in the military and things like that, I tell them like, look, I can honestly say that the Marine Corps gave me way more than I ever gave it. And I have some, not regrets, but I am thankful for those experiences because I learned so much from that. One of the things about coming up in leadership in the Marine Corps, I came in through the reserve side. So when you typically go through your leadership structure on active side, you're going to NCO school. So like when you get corporal, you go to NCO school. When you get sergeant, you go to sergeant school. When you go to staff sergeant, you go to staff school. And in the reserves, he's like, nope, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And I started thinking on that. Okay, so how did that go wrong? And the way I looked at it was that the examples of leadership I had were my drill instructors. And so the example of leadership I had was that you got one guy that's kind of calm, but once he loses it, it's over. You're going to the pit. Like that's how you discipline people. And then either that or you sick the heavy hat on them. And so then that person's a freaking bulldog. And so a leader is somebody who's supposed to like lead through fear and just, everything is punished, not savagely, but everything's punished through physical methods. And so, like, one of the things that I really focus back on is that we had just gotten back from, it was like a week-long op, and we were all just ready to go. So my guys are getting back in the vehicle. We're doing quick checks. And I remember one of my guys, like, he was like, I think I have my MVGs. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever.
Night vision goggles.
Yeah, night vision goggles, which it's
I
like
I've suffered with acronyms, but I know enough. The audience will be like, huh?
Yeah, but like at the time, $8,000 piece of gear. So we take off, we get back. He starts looking through. He doesn't have them. For anybody that doesn't know, if you're going to go outside the wire, it's not just getting in a vehicle and going. You got to turn in an op order. You got to get them approved. You got to do all this jazz. So, on top of that, that was a huge like mark of, what did you do? And the way I dealt with that was, because it was my fire team, was I didn't take any ownership for it. Instead, I shifted it to the fire team because that's what I knew. It's like, okay, we got to go. We got to punch people. So basically, I pitted them in the back of the area that we had, which for anybody who doesn't know what pitting is where basically in boot camp, you got these giant sand boxes out there. And whenever you do something wrong or just the drill instructor feels like it feels, you get out in the sandbox and you do push-ups, you do flutter kicks, you do everything where you come out like
that goes.
Yeah. Like you do sugar cookies, you come out with sand in places you didn't even know you had. Just horrific.
Sand fleas are wonderful too.
Yeah. But went through all that. We eventually go out, get the MVGs back and everything. And so today I think on that, I'm like, one, I didn't take ownership of it because the fact is like I asked, he didn't know, and I should have stopped everything right there and just went and got him. Two, I punished the whole group, but I didn't do anything. I'm just standing there giving commands and they're going through all this physical stuff when it's like, I should have been suffering alongside them because it's more my fault than anybody else it was. I should own the situation. And then afterwards, I didn't talk or counsel or anything. It was just done. Whereas like I should have sat down with that Marine. Like, all right, so here's where I feel we went wrong and everything. And but that's one of those situations that keeps playing out in my head of where when I get in those situations now, it's like I'm much more laid back. Like it was actually pretty interesting to me because in church on Sunday when they were talking about Gamaliel.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Gammy?
thought Gammy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gammy. And like I was like, that timing is very, very weird because I've been putting a lot of thought on that moment. I was like, this is because now I'm more apt to kind of take a step back and look at the whole situation, and it starts with me. And it's very hard to get out of that circle to go into somebody else. They're like, okay, look, this was your fault, so let's figure out how to fix it. It's very much like, no, like, it's my fault. I should have seen it. I should have accounted for it and all that. But yeah, I feel like that was a very important lesson. And I start trying to think about, how am I going to import that to my kids? How do I import that to my students?
I am so excited about this. And the irony of you bringing these particular things up today is funny, because Brennan and I were he rode with me to help me. And out of the blue, I'm like, you should consider the military. Like, I joined the military because I was just a klutz. I was late to everything. And I thought, and plus I wanted to serve my country. You know what I mean? It was important to me. And I thought, I need basic training to be good for me, because I am an anti-conformist to my core. And I thought the military would be good for me. And it really was. I am so proud of being in the military. I never really went past corporal, but you were talking about being punished, or you were talking about punishing and not, basically joining in on that. It's funny, because I have a few things. I remember in basic training, they give you different roles. You become squad leader, platoon leader, things like that. And you're emulating roles of responsibility. In my the first day of the third week, I was hired to be in charge of barrack maintenance and platoon leader. And I remember anytime someone had to do push-ups, if I was in the area, I had to do them with them, because I was responsible for them. And I loved that to some degree, because it was on me. Now, I don't think I volunteered for that necessarily, but I remember having to do push-ups with my guys and girls. And I thought it was great. So it's funny, because I wonder if that's the reason why. Brennan, do you remember when you were young, you and your brothers would get in trouble if they had to, like, stand in the corner, which is probably the worst thing you do for a kid. Like, the most emotionally depressing thing is standing in a corner, staring at a wall. I used to tell them, you're here because I messed up. I did not, I wasn't consistent, or, you know what I mean? Or I did not enforce a rule. I let it go too far to a point that you got in trouble. So when they were in trouble, I stood behind them. Like, I punished myself the whole time, because I was like, if you're here, I'm here. I'm right behind you. And if you move, we're going to stand here even longer. Do you remember that? Was it you or your brothers had to do that?
Mainly me, probably.
But I thought, he's my responsibility. And I'm not just going to tell him to go over there and stand in the corner. I'm going to stand there with him. And there was two reasons. I want to make sure he's doing it right. Number one. Number two, I felt like I've slacked somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
Accountability and leadership. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, he's having a difficult time with the job. And I said, you should consider the military. Literally today, did we not just have this conversation?
We did about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, 15 minutes before the show started. And I was thinking, golly, it'd be so good for him. Just go through basic training. He can join the reserves or the Air National Guard and get that basic training experience. You learn so much. And I rejected the rules of the military, too, to a point that they threatened to kick me out. I ended up getting promoted because I believed in,
of course,
because I follow rules that make sense. But when they don't make sense, I challenge them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
But that's important.
Well, that's what true leadership is improving upon standards that managers maintain. That's how I look at leadership.
So interesting is I was watching a clip. So at some point, I'm probably going to subscribe to BBC channel just so I can watch Heroes of the SAS. But it was a Patty Main thing, and he was training a bunch of French Foreign Legion guys. And he gave them these orders to build build 2 scaffolds in the middle of the desert. And one of the leaders' answer was like, well, we are trained to just follow orders and do it. And he's like, that is absolutely wrong. You should be questioning, why am I building 2 scaffolds in the middle of the desert? What is the purpose? You should always question, so that if everything goes to crap, like it's going to, then you know how to adjust on the fly to accomplish the mission.
That's interesting, because there was an experience, and I can't even talk about it. I can't go into any detail. Well, let's just say we went to a place recently, and there was an odd rule that we didn't quite understand in this bar. And I was being told to sit down, to have a seat. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll stand. They're like, no, we'd prefer, you have a seat. And I'm like, okay. Well, there was an open seat, but then there were like 20 of us eventually get there. And it was impossible to sit down and communicate because it'd be too far away. So we were just we thought the rule was don't stand in the walkway, which made perfect sense. You don't want to be in the ways of the trays. And we kept all being told to have a seat. but no one said, hey, by the way, it's our policy to that we don't like people standing, you know, and if you don't like it, you know, we'd prefer you leave. And I'd be like, oh yeah, no problem. I fully understand. I didn't want to sit. I would have just finished my drink and left. And man, it got a little bit hectic after that. I can't give any more details, but it was funny because it felt like this authority. I mean, it felt like somebody was just trying to enforce some ridiculous rule. Like if you tell me I got to stand there with my head on my head, my hand on my head, you got to explain why, you know, and nobody explained that. Nobody went into detail like, no, it's our policy. It wasn't none of that. It was just like, no, have a seat. And I'm like, I'm standing. I want to stand.
Yeah, you're not going to boss me. Tell me,
And my
explain
buddy,
something.
my buddy did not like that at all. My buddies, plural, to a point that we all had to leave in a negative way, and I hated it too because it's they're all great friends of mine, the owners of the establishment. You're hearing it from both sides. Okay, it makes sense. But looking back in hindsight, you know, you're in that chaos. Afterwards, you think, well, what could have been done differently? Well, communication. Just said, hey, I know you want to stand. I've had to ask you multiple times. We actually have a policy that you're required to set. This is a setting place only, which I've never heard in my life. It just seemed asinine to me. It was almost like somebody was trying to enforce their own rule on us.
Mm-hmm.
And our mutual friend, didn't like it much.
Well, I understand. You know, you want to rebel because either you want to find out why.
It's the American way. We rebel. It's in our
tell
DNA.
Me no, I want to do it even more now just
Yeah.
to figure out why, especially if you're not going to explain it to me.
Yeah.
Tell me no so I can do it twice and take pictures.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I got a couple of things I want to respond to Casey on
Okay.
because he made like a gajillion really good points and brought up some cool stuff. And I'm like, hey, buddy. So remind me after this, I'll give you a password for BBC because I have it on one of my channels. I watched this thing on Patty Main. People Google this dude. There's an inspection going on, and it was like the Allied Supreme British or whatever commander, whatever they were. And he refused to change his beret, and he wanted to keep his tan beret on. And he's, you know, speaking quite eloquently in his, you know, in his accent. And he's like, my team is a bit, you know, we're a bit of ruffians, and we smell of alcohol and booze, and women because we enjoy it. And we may be a little more difficult and non-traditional in our combatives, but we get the job done for you, sir. And basically he was in the most respectful way telling them to go F off and that they were going to do their thing. And just when you expected this general to like lose it on him, he very gently fixes his beret and he goes, I'm going to allow you to wear your tan beret to differentiate yourself in your unit. And I just want you to know in front of everyone here that command doesn't care what you wear or what you do so long as you keep winning. And this dude just kind of looked at him, chuckled, they saluted and moved on. And I had the biggest freedom boner of my life watching this scene.
Yes.
So it was really, really good. Please look this guy
Is this
up.
like a show, like a fake?
No,
It's not
historic.
fake.
Oh, okay.
It's a historical,
See, I like
like I guess docu-series would be.
Yeah.
Because they're taking artistic liberty and all that as well, but this dude was a badass of badasses. Like it's just history.
Patty Main
Yeah.
started the SAS, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Special Air Service. So going back to your leadership and all that, because there were so many good points there. So I truly believe in the lesson that you learned is called trust but verify. And I had to learn that the hard way in many ways. I live that every day because one of the biggest problems I'm having now as I get older, maybe my work ethic is getting better or my OCD is just going off the charts, maybe a little column A, a little column B. But what's happening is people aren't making the extra effort for anything. A simple example, I have a customer who's going to answer to their customer, right? There's always a chain. So I'm going to give you the most amount of information I can so that you feel satisfied with my customer service. And now you can explain it to whoever you have to, especially if it's bad news. If there's a delay, something out of our control, I move containers. So I'll send them a screenshot of the vessel, the container. Here's what happened. This is why it was delayed. This is out of our control. We have to wait for this to come into port. You know, and I'll even go as far as explaining what a vessel is because a lot of them don't know that that means a ship. And you'd be surprised, but their stupidity keeps me employed. So carry on. So I'll pass that on to somebody. You know, I'm dealing with with higher level stuff. So I'm like, hey, get this email out to this customer, do this to one of various people that can do that for me. And they'll just send a quick email like, vessel delayed, ETA 2 days from now, thanks. And I literally see red. Why can't you take the 30 seconds it takes to go do a snippet, put it in there so that they have proof to show their superiors, and it's not just, he said so, so it must be true. And I harp on this, trust but verify. And treat everyone like they're going to verify you. So just give them the proof. That way, God forbid someday you have to take my word for it. Chances are 99% it's true, because this is how I operate, right? And it drives me insane that people just don't make the effort. Everyone is at this place where they're doing the absolute minimum that they can get away with, so that they can do absolutely nothing else. So I find myself in this place where I question my leadership, because I'm showing them by example. And now I'm getting to the point where I'll jump in on that email right afterwards, and I'll do exactly what I asked them to do. And that seems to be driving it home, like, oh crap, he had to jump in. Like, also that means I'm watching while doing my other stuff. So, you know, you correct them. We have an after action, like, hey man, you want to save yourself some work. Why don't you just do it all in one shot? Knock it all out. And then you can truly chill. And if there's nothing else to do, relax. I'm cool with it, but get the job done right the first time. Now, learning from your mistakes, as you mentioned, I'm not going to say that's the only way to learn.
Really?
But it's one of the absolute best ways to learn, because it leaves a mark most of the time. And that bruise, you know, you can always look down at that scar and remember that lesson. But as you get older and wiser, does that work when you're younger? Probably the only way for someone in their youth to learn.
That's why I encourage them to go make your mistakes.
As I get older, I absolutely listen and read and try to learn from history, or try to learn from your lessons, what you bring to the table. You tell me a story, I'm taking that with me and I'm learning. He says something, same thing.
If you trust the source.
If you trust the source.
I think my kids have avoided making a lot of mistakes because they do trust me. Isn't that weird? My sons listen to me. Isn't it, Brennan? Isn't that fascinating? Because you really I think he hasn't made enough mistakes.
It's a
I beg
strange
to differ,
dynamic.
but
I feel like I would find it weird if they didn't, but then I know you a certain way. And so I guess for me, there's that natural dynamic of where the father figure should be like, I feel like the son or the daughter should be willing to trust them and understand, you know, like, okay, they're doing this out of my best interests.
If you have that relationship, if there's two things you can do, you can patronize them and you can be condescending when they make the mistakes that you said, if you do this, this is going to be the consequences. And then they go out and do it. And then the parent or the authority figure, teacher, coach, I told you, you know, and they try to make them feel stupid and they belittle, which is why that is a weak style of leadership. It doesn't work. You just have to say, it's no big deal. Brush it off. It'll be fine. You're going to be fine. Feel that feeling, learn from it, and move on. Get back up. Go on. And that's been my style. I mean, like today, I was trying to process. He's got a thing going on with his job, and I had to think through it and think, okay, well, this is where you suck. Here, here, and here. Work on those three things, and you'll be fine. And I literally wasn't nice about it. Wasn't kind. I wanted him to feel that negative emotion, but without that patronizing, I told you. I didn't tell him anything. I just wanted to reinforce where I feel that he could improve, and he knows it as well as I do. I just wanted to articulate it in a way that feels like shit, because I want him to feel that feeling of, I don't want to feel this no more. I can do better.
Driving that point home without, so there's this.
I don't want to break their spirit.
Yeah, without breaking their spirit. Yeah. There's this saying, that's where we go into bullying and bad leadership. You know, they have that, there's this meme of a boss, and all of his workers are in front of him and he's on this chair with a whip. And they say that's a boss.
Yeah.
And then you've got a guy up front and everyone's following him and they're saying that's a leader.
Yep.
Right? That condescension, that rudeness. I forgot who said it, but it was like, rudeness is a weak man's or weak person's imitation of strength.
Yes.
Because you're not doing anything. You don't know it, so you're faking it with bullying.
Yeah. Well, I reinforced everything that I said with, and by the way, maybe you should consider the military, because I was a complete flunky until I made that commitment. Like, I was never on time for anything. And he was shocked. He goes, you've never been late like that. I've never known you to be late for anything. I said, yeah, but that's the military. They taught me I have to show up, even if I'm drunk and I have alcohol pouring out of my skin. And my platoon sergeant or my squad leader says, you got to go home. You smell like whiskey. But you still show up no matter what. And so I was like, bro, I had to implement strategies to correct my behavior because my dad couldn't do it. It took the military to kind of knock some of that stuff out of me. And they didn't break my spirit at all. They made me stronger.
I can say there were many times at 5:30 in the morning, I wish they would have just told me to go home. They're like, nope, it's going to be a fun 5 miles for you, bro.
Yeah, I can't believe it. That only happened to me one time. They thought I was going to get written up. So I'd earned the respect of my squad leader and just go home. Out of sight, out of mind today, buddy.
So I want to hit on one thing you said where it's, kind of being that condescending leader where like, yeah, how'd that work out for you? Or like, see, dummy, that. For me, it came from a spot of where you really need to think about that feedback loop that you're starting to create. Because for me, that creates a feedback loop of where you're going to create somebody that no longer wants to act because they don't want to be shamed. And it's where, look, if you mess up, we're going to talk about it and we're going to build. All right. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that talk's going to get really serious really quick. But yeah, it's like for me, when I've had those leaders that do that, I don't want to be shamed anymore. So I'm probably going to take away from my initiative versus where I had those leaders that were like, okay, here's what happened. This is how we could have done this better. What did you see? What got you to this part? They break it down. And then they're like, okay, so this is how I want you to go about this next time you run into this.
It's funny. We're talking about this and my mind's instantly thinking in first principles, like we're describing what weak leaders do and how they approach things. The question is why they do it. And if you think about it, like the first why that comes to my mind is, well, because people have this incessive desire to be correct. You know what I mean? Like it's something odd when it comes to humans, like the desire to want to be right in every situation, every relationship, it's fascinating to me. If you look at politics, if you look at everything, it's this thing to like reinforce your belief system. Well, this is the way I was taught, or this is, and I think, well, what is that? It's the ego, which is complicated that you can't just throw it on the ego. Like, what does that mean? But it's definitely from a point of weakness. But I don't know what that is. Like that people have this, I told you I was right. You know what I mean? Like people give advice all the time because they want to, at some point, I guess, confirm their belief system is correct. Does this make any sense at all?
Well, it's a victory. It's a mental victory. It's an ego victory.
Yeah.
It's
so bad.
There's different sides of it. There's the person that just has to be right all the time.
Yeah.
And I told you so is their way. And then there's the person that's not too sure of themselves. And the only way they know how is to be like, well, I'm the boss. So you're going to know that I'm the boss and I'm going to let you know that I'm the boss. But they may not even have the right answer. And they are certainly not teachable.
But when you think about where it starts in childhood with your parents. Parents. Yes. I said one day, I was like, I know exactly what's wrong with the world. Parents. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but you have to realize these are children having children, no life experience whatsoever. You're having kids and you're just repeating generational nonsense. And at some point we have to reflect on our habits and learn from them. And so I always talk about what I dedicated my life to, this podcast, my journals, my kids. 100% of it was to, take what I learned from my parents, the good things, and then challenge the other things and think, well, how can I do it better? And that was the biggest life lesson that I realized that, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. You're all an experiment. So when it came to discipline, I tried my best to include them on like the approach, how we're going to handle this. What do you think the proper, discipline should be for this? What would be the appropriate punishment? Like, what do you think? And you know what I mean? What a fascinating concept. It was an experiment. I didn't know if I was right. Pulling them out of school, I wasn't sure. I thought, but I don't think that's the way. I think there's other ways we can do this, and then we can grow from it. We can learn from it. And I don't know, Brennan, what do you think? Is that a pretty good analogy of why I've done everything I've ever done? We're going to
I'd
talk
say
more
so.
about this on the podcast when they come on, because I'm curious, because they're kind of turning out pretty dang good. And I'm like, vindication. Actually, it's not that. It's just like true joy seeing them take life by the balls. Yeah, they feel pain. They struggle, but they don't stay down for long. And
That's
that was
part of the
really my
win,
goal.
though. That's part of the win.
What do you think, Brennan? Is that a pretty good analogy of how I described it?
Yeah, you did a good job about not just punching us, but us understanding why. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah. I tried to. I really tried to. And it was hard, man, because you get pissed off. And that was the thing that I learned about emotions and the importance of emotions. So it was when they were young is when I started realizing and thinking, oh, it's okay to feel something, anger, rage. You just don't act on it. Like emotional intelligence. People talk about women being more emotionally more intelligent. I would argue that people are just not very emotionally intelligent. And I think a good indication of emotional intelligence is someone that feels something but doesn't act on it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now, women may feel more emotions, but I think we do too. But we don't have the luxury because we can mess up. We have rage that, we break things, and I think we have to be very careful as men when we do feel something, and we have an extra responsibility of saying, hold on, because we'll burn the whole thing to the ground. That's the fascinating thing about the ego that I love. I talk about it a lot. I've done multiple podcasts on it, but the most incredible thing about the human ego is that it will build beautiful cities. One person's ego will build the most beautiful city you've ever imagined and then burn it to the ground the second that ego is hurt. Isn't that
Mhm.
fascinating?
It is. I wanted to go over one thing with the discipline thing. And so this took a mental shift in me and kind of really affected how I work with my kids. Is that so discipline? I feel like multiple generations have associated discipline with punishment when the definition of discipline is teacher, And so especially when you have your kids that are having these big feels and big emotions, they don't know what that is. They don't know how to identify it. They just feel it.
Mhm.
So I've been working really hard to have them identify what it is you feel. Are you angry? Are you sad? Like, what is it? And then help them work through that. Whereas it's like, I remember as a kid, like emotion was somewhat punished because it was the understanding of was like, you're going to be a man. And like you said, you can't express a lot of those emotions. You need to keep that in because that's something somebody's going to use to rule you.
Yeah.
And granted, that paid off in a lot of ways in my life, and some ways it didn't, but whatever.
You survived.
Yeah, I survived.
And
That's
that was
right.
the goal. That was
Yeah.
what our fathers were trying to do because they didn't know any better. They came from a much harder time. They didn't have the luxury of complaining. You had to suck it up and move on.
And our parents didn't have time to watch YouTube and learn all these great parenting things.
Didn't exist.
Well, it didn't exist, but then they didn't have time to sit down and read through all these child psychology books. They were trying to make a living.
Yeah.
They were trying to make sure that you survived.
It was a boom.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a piece of it.
And now we've had this shift of where just everything is so accessible. Like you can literally do like a prompt on AI and then it'll give you all these resources. It'll read out to you, yes, this is what you're experiencing, and you can walk through it. So now it's like me as a dad, I feel like I have that responsibility to help them really learn through those emotions and teach them things that I would have never thought in a million years. Oh yeah, I need to teach you how to deal with your emotions. It's like, no, you got to help them identify it and how to deal with each one, and especially how to communicate that to somebody in a way that will make sense.
Yeah. And, we're talking about the military and the sand pit, and it was punishment. It was a form of punishment. But what they were trying to do
It
was
was pain and
two things.
consequences.
You have a variety of people from all walks of life. They have different upbringings. So they had to have a one size fits all to protect this country. And so they used opportunities of discipline, and we called it punishment, to make us stronger. Those push-ups were so we could carry more shit. You know what I mean? Like it was to get you physically fit. So it was amazing that our military is amazing.
They're also creating a bond because
Yeah,
that's suffering.
They're stripping your
We're
ego away.
suffering together.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never
So-
bonded more with
I
people
told
who
him
through
that.
suffering.
I said, bro,
Suffering. I paid for
Yeah.
suffering now, you know?
yeah,
There's people
Literally.
who pay 10 grand to go to like boot camps that we got paid to go to.
yeah. Well, I told him, I was like, yeah, we all suffered together and we built these unbelievable bonds with people that I would have never given a second thought to. But when you go through something like that, you just make friendships that you just normally wouldn't. It's incredible.
Oh yeah. And pain
Speaking
is
of
just pain
suffering.
is an incredible teacher.
I want to talk
Yes,
about
it is.
the gym. So I've been going to the gym 3 days a week now.
Nice.
And I thought, people was talking about being tired and, this ain't right or that ain't right. And I always thought, well, maybe go to the gym first and see if that improves your quality of life. And I can say that I am tired. Like we go at 6 o'clock in the morning and I love it. Don't get me wrong. But man, I came home and at 3 o'clock, I passed out in this chair and I woke up thinking, what time is it? I was delirious. And I thought, when am I going to start receiving the benefits? Where's this extra energy? Like when do I get that, Carlos?
Consistency. You're on week
Come
2, buddy. This is like your second week.
That was
there.
my
Your
third.
third? Okay, the beginning of your third. Give it time. Also,
So you're saying there's going to be a return on this investment?
there is 1,000% a return on your investment.
I can say that so far it's easier. And so William, he pushes us pretty hard.
Yeah, Coach Williams.
William
he's
pushes us
hardcore.
pretty hard. And then I had a talk with him yesterday, just like a 30-second. I was like, I'm getting exactly what I wanted out of this because he's correcting me in a lot of the things that I'm doing. And he wants to push you a little harder. It's just his nature. He's a go-getter. You can just tell.
Mhm.
I'm not, William. Okay. I just want to keep this whole thing pumping. You know what I mean? And I said, look, bro, I'm getting everything I wanted out of it. I'm being consistent with it. I'm not trying to kill myself. I'm not trying to get bigger, stronger. I just want to make sure I'm living a healthier life. And so I thought, as long as I'm a little dizzy, I can feel that I've done something. I'm happy. Me and you, I think you're a lot like me because I look over and Carlos is like, yeah, we're skipping that one.
Yeah, no, there's some days where it depends. Well, don't forget.
He just disappeared for
I
like
do-
15 minutes
Hey,
at
listen,
one point.
Well, I got bubble gut from.
I was
Oh,
like, I think I'm getting bubble gut too.
We were doing these sick crunch things, and all of a sudden it went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and I was like, oh, we percolating. And if I was going to do anything heavy without having an accident, I needed to hit the head.
Mhm.
So that's what we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have some days where I'm just not feeling it, and I'm like, listen, the victory today was getting out of bed and showing up,
Yeah.
and that's what you're getting today. Then there's times where
That's a good way to look at it.
I do my doubles where I'm doing sets in the morning and CrossFit in the afternoon. And then I'll hit the morning class the next day. Yeah, I'm probably not running on 100. But what I wanted to tell you is part of feeling better about this, aside from the routine, and you'll get all of that, is consistency in your schedule and
That's
what
impossible.
you're feeding your body. You need to
That's
hydrate
crazy.
right. You need
Oh,
to
yeah.
do, all the good stuff. But you also need some sort of routine. You didn't make it the other day because you were out late the night before. I will force myself to go on those days because it will. You hit me up, and could have been church, could have been that, but
It was
it
church. I
happens.
was out too late.
Sometimes I've been up too late, and I'm like, man, I don't want to hit that 6 a.m. But if I'm gonna keep my consistency and try to, I'll make up for that sleep later that night.
Yeah.
But I do that by getting up and going, so that there's no choice. I may aim for a 9:30 bedtime and then end up crushed at 8 because I push through it. It'll get you there, and then you wake up the next day like $1 million.
Well, when I leave the gym, I feel like $1 million. Literally feel lighter because I guess you're picking up a bunch of heavy shit over and over and over. So I walk out and I feel amazing for a while, and then boy, by 3 o'clock, I'm ready to take a nap. I only missed Friday because I woke up at 4:30 and begged myself to go back to sleep, and then I slept right through my alarms. Literally my alarm, I screenshot it because I thought nobody's going to believe me. My alarm was going off silent, no vibrating, no nothing. Maybe it just gave up. I don't know how long it'd been
It
going
was
off.
AI. It's like, nah, man, he ain't doing this today.
Yeah,
Snooze number
I was
17.
so bummed out that I missed. I hated it.
Mm. But also the thing with that too is just I know like I'll push through because it's like I know if I don't do it that time, it's gonna make it that much easier the next time
Bingo.
to just not do it. And I
I agree.
refuse to let that happen. It was like when I used to do CrossFit competitively, like I would have to force myself to take a day off. One, it was the fear of missing out because you didn't do the workout that day, so you can't talk about it. But two, is that okay? it's like it's 6:30. I gotta get up and go do this. I'm like, no, your body's broken. It's like, yeah, but if you don't go, that's gonna make tomorrow not going that much easier. I'm like, fine, I'll go.
Yeah. I've told him many times I can only take one day off, and I have to force myself to do it because my body hurts more. And I guess at this point, it's just the movement. If I take 2 consecutive rest days, that third day when I go, I'm broken. I'm aching. I'm sore. My body's like, why'd you give me an extra day, bro? Like all you did was, I'm going to remind you that everything hurts. It hurts more than if I worked 7 days in a row. Like it's a different sore. So for me, it's pick your one day, take it, and then get right back into the routine.
I'm taking off every Saturday and Sunday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And that's
Those are
fine.
my
That
days.
works for you.
Yeah,
That's
that works.
good. If things may
I'll
progress,
suffer.
things may not. But it's just a different, I can't work that way anymore.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll get addicted and want to do it more, but I just don't feel like I need it. I'm happy with my 3 days a week, and I like the crowd that I work out with. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you got to ask like what your goal is too. It's like, I know for me, it's like, I've seen these people who are like 90 years old. They'll start out there, they'll walk 3 miles and stuff like that. It's like, I just want to be able to move when I'm older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Longevity.
goal,
Yeah.
you nailed it. I'm doing my goal. I'm
Mhm.
going in. I'm doing what everybody else is doing at my own pace I'm still figuring out. I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know. I go over and pick up, what is this chick standing next to me? She's going hard. And I put this thing down. It was like 35 pounds. I don't know. What do you call that round thing you put on your shoulder? You like roll on it or whatever. What is that tube?
Oh,
Roller.
no.
We're
Oh
doing
my
squats
God.
with them.
Yeah. I can't even think of what
So
they're
I've
called
got
right
this
now.
like 35 pounder because it was sitting there. And I look over and she drops hers and it's 55. And I thought, you bitch. Like, dude, she was hardcore. And I
I'm
felt-
wondering who you were working out
I
with.
was
I could
talking,
think
I
of
was
a few
talking to
of
me, by the way, not her. I was
Yeah.
thinking I was a
Yeah.
bitch because I was like, okay.
Oh, it's a ram. They're
And then-
weighted rams.
Yeah, and then
That's
you
what it's
go
called.
over to like
Yeah.
choose a weight and you look, and some dude handed me like, you want mine? It's like 50 something pound. I'm like, no, bitch, I don't want yours. I'm here just to get through, man. I'm not competing with anybody. But I had this sense of like this competitiveness in me. Like I'm having to just put my ego to sleep and say, no, you ain't here to show off for anybody. You're doing your own thing. You're doing exactly what you wanted to do. Screw everybody else.
No, that's really good.
And I'm getting really good at it. If I want to lay there and just not do anything at all, I'm fine.
Well, the
with that.
three of us laid there on a Bosu this morning during those crunch things.
It wasn't this
and,
morning.
And
It
when
was
was that? Yesterday? And I was like, you know what?
Oh, it was today.
I was like, wait, I kind of like this.
it was
Just
today.
lean back.
It was today.
You got me all messed up.
I know.
My days are a blur
I'm
anyway,
so
but
confused. Yeah, but it's fun. Sets is incredible. That and there's more of them, right? I'm sorry, a little shout out.
Yeah,
for sets
they are,
because
they're
I
a
gotta be in
franchise. They're all
Chattanooga
over,
next
yeah.
week, and I thought, well, I got to find the sets. You think there's one in Chattanooga?
well, we can find out on your app.
Okay, well, we'll look later because I want to keep going. I don't want to. That would be a problem if I miss a week.
Mhm.
Never come.
Well,
back.
that's what Casey was talking about. Every time you miss something where you can make the little extra effort to actually go.
Yeah.
That's why even with church, you miss one Sunday, it makes it so
It
easy
does.
to miss and miss. You're like, I'll catch it online. And then you're missing out on that gathering
the
on that,
experience
and the
being
experience of
together.
So, and that's
it.
kind of
That was
interesting.
good.
Is so my fiance so there's been a couple of times where it's just she works the bar on the weekends, so like there's some Sunday morning she comes home it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like yeah, you want to go? She's like, well, I feel like we have to go. I'm like, well, why do you feel that way? Because we'll have my kids, and she's like, well, I don't want them to have the feeling of like, you know, we're not gonna go. And she's right. It's like we're creating a stable environment and like
Consistency.
consistency. And so yeah, she's a big driving force on those
Good
days. Like,
example.
yeah, we gotta go.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's what discipline is doing something in spite of feeling like doing it. You know,
That's right.
that's the tough thing about discipline. If you just do things that are convenient or just because you feel like it, well, good grief, you're not going to do anything because I don't feel like doing most things. I just do it because I don't give myself a choice.
mhm.
I signed up for all this crap and I'm regretting it days before, right up until, like I did the zoo run the other day.
Oh boy.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why did I sign up for this like a week after I got back from High Rocks? Like, you're a moron. And then all of a sudden we get into it and I had like a really good time.
Yeah.
Like I did I think 27.29 was my 5K, which for a hefty is pretty good. I don't care what y'all say. And now I'm like, oh, I want to beat that some more. So now I'm doing the special kids race next Saturday.
There you go.
And by Thursday of this week, I'll be like, you're an idiot. Why did you sign up for this? And I'm working out the whole week all the way up to it too. So it's psychotic suffering, and I love it.
Similar experience Sunday. I didn't feel like leaving the house. My buddies texted me, "Are you coming?" I was like, "No, man. I felt good this morning, but I'm a little hungover now, and I don't feel like leaving the house." And then I started feeling like a bitch again. So I said, "No, I'm going," and ended up forcing myself and had the best time. Isn't that funny? When you do the things in spite of not wanting to do them, they end up being the best times. And maybe it's because you overcame something. So I'm talking about going to a bar. He's talking about running a race, but still the feeling is the same.
Mm-hmm.
A little different.
Listen,
The
I had a great
after
time.
effects
Well, no,
are
I'm so
definitely
happy. I
different.
ended up meeting these 3 girls, and they invited me and my buddy to an event in, what is that place in Kentucky? The first little city in Kentucky, Bowling Green. They gave us tickets to this brewery, and they're having some prom night. Apparently, I have to buy a tuxedo, and they hooked us up on hotels and everything. I'm like, hell yeah,
Dang.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I was like, well, good. I'm glad I came.
Can you
Made some new
please
friends.
do one of those old tuxes with like the ruffles and all
No,
that, kind of like
so-
Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
Yes.
No. So my
Come
buddy's like,
on.
well, I said, well, I guess I got to rent a tux. And he says, no, don't rent it. Just buy one. I was like, bro, I'm not buying a tux. It'll get thrown away. And he goes, it's cheaper to buy one. I'm like, you're out of your mind. And he sent me a link, Walmart.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, a tux from Walmart? He goes, you'll never know the difference. I'm like,
You're
you're
only gonna
probably
wear it
right.
once.
Because when you go to rent one, they're crap. They are crap, and they charge you a fortune.
I did not know Walmart had
I
tuxedos.
have the link
That
right
is-
here.
Sadly,
I
it's
was
not that
shocked.
surprising.
I was shocked.
Well,
Of
'cause
all
it's not
things.
just the stuff that's in the store. They've tried to branch out like Amazon. So
Yeah,
like there's
mine-
stuff you buy on there. It's
Well,
only online.
I'm a little bougie too. I want to get fitted, and you know what I mean. Like, well, if I show up in a tux, it's going to be 2 sizes too big or too small.
I feel like we're at that age where it's like we want quality. We bought
Yeah.
the
I
cheap
do.
stuff. We saw what happens. Like for me, it's like I don't like buy anything. I have to buy again within 10 years.
If I buy cheap sunglasses, they last a day. If I buy good ones, they last longer, and I give them to my kids, so I have an excuse to go buy. So I buy Ray-Bans. I always buy nice stuff because I keep up with it. If I bought a cheap suit, it would go in the garbage. I'd be like, it's cheap, and I'd throw it in the floor.
See, I'm the exact opposite with the sunglasses.
Same.
You buy cheap sunglasses?
Oh yeah, because I've gone through I don't know how many pairs of Oakleys, and like they just get scratched, broken, or they end up on the top of my truck and then somewhere on the interstate. But like if I buy like a $10 pair of sunglasses from like Dollar General or something, I can throw them out the window going down the interstate. When I get
Come back
home,
in
they'll
the
be
other
sitting
window.
on the bar,
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, bro, you forgot me."
Like a Ouija board you can't get rid of. Yeah, 100%, man. I've got like $10, $20 running sunglasses. Can't lose them if I tried. The last 2 Ray-Bans I bought sat on them right after I bought them and like crunch. And then I got like whatever the Ray-Ban insurance is, and I got another one. Went to New York, got off the plane in LaGuardia, jumped into the Uber, left them in the Uber.
Oh,
Walked to Walgreens, bought a pair of plastic ones, have them to this day.
I buy the ones that fold up, and I can just put them in my pocket. They fold up like 4 or 5 times. Ray-Bans. I love the fold up ones.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, they fold 1, 2, 3, like 3 times.
I've seen the ones that like my dad used to wear, the readers that fold up like that.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wears them on the tip of his
I like the ones that
nose.
come around like right here and just got the little magnet on the bridge.
Oh man,
I probably buy
Aging.
1 pair a year, at least. Yeah.
It's not
I-
bad.
On the same
It's not bad.
pair, 2 or 3.
Well, I'll lose a pair, and then I'll be like, okay, I got to go find another pair, and then I'll buy a new pair, and then like literally the next day I'll find them in a pair of pants pockets that I'd forgotten about, and that's how they show up. And then I get 2, and I'm terrible when I have 2 of something. I
Mhm.
don't keep up with them at all. I need just that. Is that weird? Like
Well,
once I have
it's
2 of the
focusing.
same thing, they don't have as much value. It's weird.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a
That's
throwaway
why, maybe that's why I
society.
give them away.
Oh, throwaway society. Oh
We
man.
are.
Oh,
Where we live in.
yeah. It pains. Like I've had a friend at one point that was on Facebook like, "Hey, our dryer stopped working. Blah blah blah. Does anybody have a cheap one?" And I'm like, I put in the comments like, "I haven't talked to you in a while. Send me your address. I'll come over and look at it." And like instead of them spending like $150, $200 on a new dryer, I fixed it for like $20. Like I cannot stand
that
throwaway
dryer?
society.
Imagine that.
I
I've
know
rebuilt
it
that
drives
dryer.
me nuts.
The dryer I've rebuilt at least 4 times. It burns wires up, and I'll go and replace them. I
Yeah.
just
Well, I mean,
keep them running.
In this day and age, I find throwaway culture just so it's the epitome of laziness to me almost. Now, granted, there are some things that are meant to be disposable, but there's just so many things out there. It's like with the dryers, like refrigerators, but I mean, there's so many things that where you can immediately go get the resource to fix it. They'll walk you through it. They'll show you where to get the parts. But so many people are just like, I don't want to mess with it. I just want to go buy a new one for $500-$600. It's like,
Well, it feels good to buy things. People are buying their happiness.
I just got
why
the
they
new
do it.
S26 Ultra and I love it.
What is this?
I got the new
So,
S26
phone?
Ultra. Yeah, like I had the S24. Absolutely nothing was wrong with it, but this one just it's new.
It's a little depressing every time I get a new iPhone. I'm like, okay, cool. I got the newest iPhone, and it looks exactly like the old iPhone. Like it literally, I'm using the same thing. I'm like, why do I do this?
Mhm.
I
Oh,
do
because
I
the
do it in
camera's better
groups.
or this or that.
Well, he'll fight you on the camera thing because those things
Yeah.
have good cameras. Even
These
though
have
there's a
really
lot
good
of
cameras,
AI
too.
in there for the moon pictures.
It
That's all I'm
is
gonna
AI.
say.
Yeah.
It is.
But like when it goes iPhone, I lose my mind. Like I get the new iPhone, then I'm like, well, now my watch is old, so I want to get the new Ultra. Like I just got the new Ultra, and then I lost my Aura ring because I need all these devices to track my life,
Mhm.
and I've lost some weight, so the ring kept slipping off. I got out of my car, I heard it go bring, and it rolled right into the sewer, and I'm like, literally by myself, like in a movie.
Your hand
This is
going
you
through the
know,
grate.
It's like
It's down
it's
there.
like $400 ring, man. And I'm like, crap, what am I gonna do? I
Buy
have a
another one.
brand new Ultra watch. I have all this tracking gear, and I reactivated my Whoop and got the latest one just to be like, you ain't falling off my wrist
Nope.
because I need double whammies. But I justified it, even though I just bought a new Ultra, with, well, now I can wear all the watches I don't wear, and I can have all this. Like, it's just, it feels nice to buy stuff.
I had the iWatch, whatever, and I hated the. Bzz, bzz. I caught myself in meetings or
Well, you
conversations.
can turn that off.
No, I just gave it away. I gave it to him.
I only wear mine at work.
But
Like
she's
otherwise,
obviously
I wear a
I'd
regular
rather.
watch.
I'm trying to get better at this, face down, and
Mm.
forget about it.
yeah.
Being present is much more difficult these days.
So
Yeah.
So did you see the Netflix special? It was a while back, but it was like they were going over like the social dilemma or something, or
Oh,
social
that
media.
was so good.
Yeah, that changed my whole mindset because it used to be like anything that was on an app, like I had it sending a notification, so you're just constantly getting stimulated. And then they were talking about it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, yeah, I get that." So I turned off like all the notifications, and it just cleared up so good. And I started having the same thing with my watch. It's because when I got promoted, it's like now I'm like in charge of a bunch of things, and I'm constantly getting hit with stuff. And eventually it'd be like I'd be out on a date with my fiance, or be out with some of y'all guys, and I would just take it off and throw it on the bar because I'm like I'm tired of feeling it on my
Mhm.
wrist.
I just discovered the coolest app
Oh, boy.
yesterday.
Oh,
I don't know how
man.
I'm going to use it, but it's called Big. And whatever you type in, you can type in whatever, and it'll be big on your phone. So, like this dude was like getting the band, he was typing out on his phone, and so the band could see it. Isn't that awesome? It's just called Big, and that's all it does. It types out big ass letters for
You've
you.
never been so old as you are right now.
I actually thought I was like, is that so you don't have to wear readers?
And
in your-
I was
No,
like, hey,
that's so you can
Gramps.
communicate from across a room.
Or you could send a text message, or
But I can
Or-
screenshot this.
or-
I think
or,
that's
hey,
so cool.
I love how beautifully simple that is and how much joy
Yeah.
it brings.
it does
Yeah.
bring him joy. Like he lit
Oh,
up, didn't he?
Yeah,
he
I was
did.
so excited.
I
I saw
love
him
it.
doing it. And I was like, bro, teach me.
Honestly, I thought it was his font for a second. I was like, my God, man, get glasses.
I do need glasses. Good grief. It's getting bad. I don't know what I had 2013 vision my whole life. And then I started noticing it's deteriorating. And I was convinced it was the alcohol. I was like, it's alcohol. It's got to be. But I think it's age.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens.
And then if I wore the glasses, so I bought like Amazon specials, and I noticed when I wear them, my vision is twice as bad after I take them off. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to, it was making my eyesight worse. And now they got these eye drops that you can take that like it doesn't reverse it, temporarily corrects your vision, like makes the muscles work better. And I thought, what's the side effect to that? Blindness?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
something
Like there's
bad.
going to be some
It's
kind
your
of something.
eyeball,
I'm waiting
man.
to find out what happens.
Just they have those eye drops that change your color, the color.
Yeah.
Have you seen
really?
that?
No.
They
I'm
have-
not experimenting.
This is weird stuff.
Yeah.
You literally like Visine, and it'll change it to like 3 colors or something like that,
I
depending
don't
on
want to
your.
change these eyes.
And I'm
They're so
like,
pretty.
"Ooh, that's crazy. But what's gonna happen to those people?
There's a side effect to everything. And I'm waiting to see what the side effect is on these bad boys. But I will say
We've all
that
got.
I went all day today without any. I was like, I told
Nicotine
Brennan,
free.
I was like, oh crap, I've been out of
nootropics.
out
this
of
is the nootropics.
Zen all day, and I thought, it's not like regular tobacco, because regular tobacco I would have never ran out. This, no problem.
And now
I don't have that same addictive quality.
I'm addicted to these,
Yeah.
and there's no nicotine in them. It's caffeine, and that one has nootropics in it, and this one's just plain coffee.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
so I just got
caffeine, just
coffee. I
plain
tried
coffee. Where'd
Where'd you
these.
get this?
Alpha
These are
Fuel?
called On.
Can you buy it online?
They're like $5.
Well, these are called On.
Try it if you want.
And they got a little
Red-
put-back
tastes like
holder.
rum.
They got a little put-back holder, which I thought was pretty cool. But this is coffee flavor. And I realized, because I would just put one right in after another. And I thought, I'm getting addicted. But then I realized, no, it's like me and a pack of gum. If I buy a pack of gum, I chew the whole damn pack. I'm like a child.
This is a pack of gum that you don't swallow, like that you don't
Exactly.
chew, basically.
Yeah.
Like it, and like I use them at work if I'm overstimulated or something. Like I don't know if it's a placebo or what, but once I got the winter, I use them at the
It tastes good,
workout,
too.
and they taste good.
I told him, I said, I take it because it tastes good. It tastes amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 dudes with addictive personalities.
Oh,
Well,
wait,
you
that's
got to
true.
have a vice.
Oh.
Choose it.
Yeah, at least I'm
Choose
choosing
your
health
vice.
and suffering.
We had that. So we've been running this program. We're in our second week of this program, this reentry program, and it's through recovery court. And, sometimes I'll speak up, and I'm in and out of the classroom. And they were talking about, you're all going to third shift. It's going to suck. They're giving all the reasons it's going to suck. And I was like, look, let me speak from my experience. I love third shift, not because I liked working at night, because the family that I created in the morning, we bowled, we played softball, I was on a league, and we went to the bar at 7:00 in the morning. I said, we had the most fun going into these bars. And my buddy's like, Nate, stop. They're all in recovery court. I'm like, well, the temptations are real. They're going to be tempted. They got to know, choose your vice, shoot. I don't know why I told you all that, but my buddy got on.
It's the most Nate thing ever.
Yeah.
He's like, of all
Like,
things to talk about. Well, I mean, I'm just real. I mean, the temptation's going to be there. Might as well let them know.
Listen, one of the things I love most about you is you are unapologetically Nathan.
Thank you for
It's-
saying that. Can I bring
honest to
some
God.
things up?
Even if sometimes I'm cringing in a corner,
Speaking
I
of
still
cringing.
love you,
I'm
buddy.
just gonna let him roll.
Yeah.
So Brennan watched me debate out a thought that I've been having about words. You're okay with some words and not okay with others. Like, it's funny to me.
Yes,
Some of the words you
yes.
cringe, and I'm oblivious. Like, I've just recently learned that it's okay to say butch.
Oh boy,
Can I say this?
we're going right back down this.
I don't
hole.
have to say it.
Sure. Yeah,
But I said, I said something about this is my point. So I just want to use the word. I'm not calling anyone anything, but it's
Mhm.
funny to me that some people are okay with butch, some people ain't. But it depends on who you're talking to. You know what I mean? It's very subjective, words, and whether or not people are going to be offended by it. And I thought, hold on. My whole life I was picked on. My whole life I was called gay. I've never done a gay thing in my life, but shit, I've been called gay. You're gay, dude. Whatever. Homo, right? We pick on each other. And I thought, good grief. I'm glad I'm not offended by that word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, what was my logic there, Brennan? I was telling you about it, and he saw me going debating with Lucy because Lucy's like pushing back a bitch. She's so damn woke sometimes. But I was thinking, you know what? The reality is you're going to be made fun of something. For something you just happen to be so it's okay to say transvestite, right?
Mhm.
But not tranny. And I thought, well,
Oh,
my
we can't
name's
say that.
Nathan.
That's on the no-no list.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on the no-no list, but my name's Nathan, and for short, you say Nate, right? Or Nathaniel, Nathan. And I was thinking, when I talk about my transmission, I call it a tranny. I'm about to place a clutch in my tranny. You know what I mean? Like, you just say that. It's such a natural thing. Or dike. I say dike so much because I got side cutters, right? And I'm saying grab the dikes. And people look at me like, you can't say that. I'm like, bitch, please. This is what they're called. They're tools. I mean, you know what I mean? And it's so comical to me that people are looking to be offended. I'm like, God, what? Like we are a species that make fun of one another to toughen us up. It's just part of becoming an adult. And I just thought, I don't. Really
I don't think
care.
it's just toughening up. I think it's
I
also
think it's the intent.
bringing people in. You know, like we have those friends. If the three of us are hanging out somewhere and we're not busting each other's chops,
Yeah.
somebody doesn't like the other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Plain and simple. And I grew up with that, like, you're gay, you're retarded,
Yeah.
all those things.
Fag.
You've
Can't
never
say that.
seen, like, hey, military guys.
Yeah.
There is no place gayer than a barracks.
Yeah.
You've
We
never
do
seen
the
gay chicken
dumbest-
until you see two Marines playing.
And
Jeez.
just in silkies humping each other, doing stupid crap. It is the gayest thing you've ever
Well,
seen. But it's
there's
like,
a
that's
reason
my
for it.
you know what I mean? It's
Well, it's also trying to prepare you for a tough world. You know, when you do this when you're young, and it's an instinct to mess with one another. Culturally, we're supposed to make
Mhm.
fun of one another because the real world's hard.
rite of passage.
Yeah,
Even. The rite of passage. Even.
yeah. So I say own it.
Difficult.
If you want to be a transvestite, or if you want to be gay, or if you want to be a retard, just embrace it.
So I think the important thing there is that it's not so much the word you're using, but the intent behind
is.
the word.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, somebody's like, man, that's gay. It's like, okay, whatever. But if you're gonna call like my friend who's a homosexual, and you're gonna call him like
Yeah.
you gay,
That's different.
Different
That's
story.
gonna
Oh, like, same
elicit a
thing with a
very different
handicapped
emotional
kid.
response.
Yeah. If you're intentionally making fun of
Yes.
someone to make them feel less than,
Mm-hmm.
there's a problem there.
Yeah.
But if we're, just teasing one another, I don't have any problem with it at all.
Well, and then I also think there's an aspect to it too of where certain people, they're not necessarily offended; they want to be offended.
That's the
because then they're included in a group.
I think people, like there's something satisfying. Like I thought about this a lot. Like people want to feel something,
Mhm.
even if it's sadness,
Mhm.
and they will embrace it. Right? Even sadness is a better emotion than nothing at all.
because they want to belong to.
Yeah,
that,
to identify with a group. And I was thinking, it's sad to me that people will, like, I don't know, I don't have that mindset. But then again, I don't have their background either. I guess I think it is a mindset. I just never gave myself the choice of sitting around and feeling sad for myself. But when I do, I embrace it. I listen to a lot of sad songs because I want to feel something sometimes. I'm not always high as a kite and happy. Sometimes I'll reflect on sad songs to kind of get it out of me.
Oh,
Me and him
absolutely.
debated one night on how many songs are predominantly sad. Like most
That's right.
art that we know of. I think we estimated it was like 97% of all songs are generated from loss or heartbreak. You know what I mean? Very few of them are hopeful, very few. And that's when you're like when you fall in love with a girl or vice versa, you write about the possibilities, but that's not, even that's happy. It's scary. You know what I mean? The falling in love, but most songs, 90% of them, 97% of them are heartbreak songs.
So
Most.
I would offer on that like when you're in that place yourself, then you want to believe that you're not the only one experiencing that. And so when
Yeah.
you listen to the music or you read the stories that are like that,
You can relate.
yeah, you're able to relate. You're able to know like, hey, I'm not the only one that's feeling this. I'm
Yeah.
not the only one that's ever felt this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's why we gravitate towards those things. I mean, there is what am I trying to think of? There is basically through suffering, you belong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, it's why like I remember there was a very specific song that when my mom died, like I heard that song probably like 5 or 6 times in a row because that identified for me what I was feeling, and I like to me the person singing that like knew exactly what I was going through, and I had somebody feeling that with me.
And I think it's important. I think the music is there to allow us to feel these negative feelings rather than bottling them up.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace what is and move on. And the same thing with negative, impactful words. Anyways, my debate was, I don't want to be anything other than what I am. I don't want to be some kind of closet. Like, I don't want to be two-faced. I don't want to be hypocritical. So I was trying to think through the lines of logic, like, okay, why is it okay to say transvestite, not tranny? And I couldn't wrap my head around it. It's almost like, why do I have to sit in this bar? Like, you got to help me make sense of it before I'm going to agree to these terms. Like, and Lucy's argument was, well, notoriously throughout history, people used variations of those words as derogatory remarks to make people feel negatively. I'm like, okay, well, that's what they were doing. Don't put me in the same damn basket. I'm just talking to my buddies, and you know what I mean? I'm just looking for a way to communicate. And I was like, as long as there's no intent, I would never, ever, ever. And I think even all my friends would, people that know me, they know that I ain't got a judgmental bone in my body. So anyways, I had to talk about it because it's been bugging the shit out of me. Like, not trying to justify, but I just don't want to feel restricted for no reason. Like, make sense before I agree to this. Because we're picking and choosing what words we can and can't say. And I'm thinking, I have a problem with this.
And they're ever evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've gone down the rabbit hole with Jefferson Fisher. It's like, so
Who's this?
communication guy. Like he wrote a book called The Next Conversation. I read it cover to cover, gave it to my brother, had him read it. And then I watched the podcast. Like, just great guy. He's a travel lawyer. But he does a lot of communication podcasts and stuff. And so what I wanted to get at that was that it helped me develop this new thing. It's kind of my favorite thing when somebody says they're offended, or I have a student that like really wants to say like, well, they're going through this thing or whatever. And so through communication, you're able to kind of walk it back. It's like, oh, you're offended. Can you explain to me why? You know, and then like if like a lot of times it's sleep vapor lock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I just am. It's like, no. You have to advocate for yourself. If you're truly offended by this, I need to know why, so
That's
I
growth.
don't do it again. So advocate for yourself.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
Ownership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
own why you're offended, because that's important.
Yeah.
If you're really offended, you know. And a lot of times walking them through it, they realize like, well, oh, okay, you know, maybe I'm not offended, you know, but it just triggers a nerve or whatever.
And it's popular to be offended, especially
Yes,
in
it
this
is.
culture.
Yeah.
And I don't want to participate because I'm not offended by shit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing. I don't think you can offend me.
Well, I choose not to be offended by it because it's just like
I
it's,
choose to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the point. Like, you know, you think about military and you think about people and that have tough jobs. You as a paramedic, you see things that I have no concept of. I have no point of reference. And I think you have to have a dark sense of humor to survive that. You just have to. And what you guys think about, talk about, can be offensive to a lot of people. So what?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
how we get down.
yeah, just let me know not to say it around you, or don't tune in because you might hear something that may hurt your feelings.
That's my big thing is like, hey, you don't like the station, change it.
Yeah.
You know, I understand like if you're sitting at the same table as us and like you're in it and you have nowhere else to go, but if you're a couple of tables over and you just happen to hear us because we're getting a little loud, dude, don't listen. Just
Well, I mean, honestly, I can join in the fun. I'm offended too.
Yeah.
The word police, the speech police are out here telling me what I have to say and what I can't say. 1984.
1984.
Yeah, the thought police is who they are. Yeah. So it's just part of culture growing. It collapses. It comes and goes.
And it changes and things
Yeah.
come back around.
Yeah.
And suddenly words that were offensive several years ago are back.
Yeah.
And they're like, well,
And
that's a
man,
cool word now.
I've just
So
been embracing
it's hard to
it.
keep up.
Yeah, I've been embracing it a lot lately. I think it's like,
Yes, you have.
it's liberating to not be so damn uptight. Because I kind of almost fell into that bandwagon
That's
of,
not the way I
I started
prescribe
questioning, can I say this? Can I say that? And I thought, I can say whatever the hell I want. I can say whatever the hell I want. There may be consequences for what I say. I may lose someone that's close to me, but I hope that we communicate through that and I get a chance to grow from it. If you can articulate, express yourself, why, what I'm saying. If you have a legitimate reason, then I can respect you. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I hope to kind of, what's the right word? To kind of not aura out, but basically give off the impression of it's like, look, if I offended you, just explain it to me, and then I will not do it again. You know,
If
but
you
understand,
can convince me.
yeah, like trust me, if I'm saying something with intent behind it, you're gonna know
Yeah.
it.
That's the key, man. It's what's coming from the heart. Are you trying to hurt someone's feelings? That's different.
And that's my other favorite thing now is when people like, so I have a certain situation at work where it's like this person just, when they start having to realize their own kind of errors, they're the ones that kind of lash out and try and cause the fog of war and everything. And whenever like I start rolling it back on them, they get so frustrated because it's like, no, you're going to advocate for this, or you's like, I'm going to make you say that again and realize what you're doing. And it's just, they get all
Well, I want to say there is intent by what I am saying. Everything I say, there is intent to some degree. And the intent is we're taking ourselves a little too seriously. We're not special. Okay. There's horrific things going on in the world, and making fun of one another is not one of them. But people have to choose the thing. Like, everybody needs to feel the whole range of emotions or something. I don't know what it is.
The intent doesn't always have to be an insult, or the intent could be satire.
Yeah.
The intent could be comedy. Remember when things were funny?
We were talking about Mel Brooks recently, and we were talking about him never being canceled. And if you go back and watch Blazing Saddles, the intent behind that show, if you're a victim, you are going to see what you want to see. You're going to see racism. But if you actually have any common sense whatsoever, and you can look one layer deeper, what he is showcasing is what the intent is to showcase how ridiculous it was to judge someone based on their skin tone, right? And he was making fun. If you look at the characters, the people that come across as morons were all the white people. Like, he was making fun of white people, but people will be offended. You know what I mean? It's so funny.
1000%.
Like, he is advocating for you. He's creating these characters, and you see these people that played these slow black people or whatever. They weren't so slow in the movies. I mean, maybe there is cases where they use someone of color to insult, but in so many cases, like Mel Brooks, he was elevating all these characters where they were all predominantly looked down on. And I thought, well, we were wondering why he didn't get canceled, because I think people with any a reasonable bone in their body can see what the intent was behind that.
And I mean, he did it all: racism, sexism, ageism. You name it. A black sheriff.
Yeah.
Like, he did it all, man.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. His intent,
Because
satire. Let's bring people together with laughter, and let's make fun of this absolutely
let's make fun of
absurd
everyone
situation.
Yeah.
And he throws it in your face till you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
And then everyone's laughing together because it's funny. The black guy thinks it's funny. The white guy thinks it's funny. Everybody involved. So he was making a point.
I was watching the characters in that movie, and I thought, wow, I wonder, if they look back on their past and think, I wish I would have never played that role, or if they embraced, hey,
I don't think so.
we were
Not a
cutting
chance.
edge. I
No.
hope not, because some people
It was
are ashamed.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, it really was.
It was groundbreaking.
And
Okay.
if you think about where it came from, think about it. He was born in 1925. Like, he knows what the Holocaust looked like. He's had plenty of family that died. Like, he knows what it's like to truly have intent behind your people.
He just did a documentary on HBO that you should absolutely see.
Yeah, I know you were talking about it.
Being Mel Brooks, or becoming Mel Brooks, and they talk about all the history and all that, and he is still sharp as a tack, and he's like 1,000, and he's hilarious. He's messing with the people interviewing him, doing all this stuff, and he's making his point. He regrets zero of it, and God bless him for it.
Yeah.
That's where I want to get. I want to get back to where we're all making fun of one another again, because it's called fun. We're making fun of one another. I talk about the jester and the importance of a jester. A king starts taking himself too seriously. The king was smart enough to have clowns to make fun of him, because it was really the only way they knew how to communicate policy in a lot of ways, was to make fun of the king, to emulate his behavior in some way. There was a reason. That was the purpose of it.
Who was the Roman, or perhaps it was Greek, where they would come into town after a victory?
Was it one of the Caesars?
And it might have been one of the Caesars, and he had someone on his
no.
chariot with
Marcus
him.
Aurelius
Was it
said,
Marcus
"Remember,
Aurelius?
you're just a man."
Well,
Because they loved him so much.
They would be clapping for him and just all this, and he had someone
Greatest
whispering in his
conqueror
ear,
human history.
like, "You're just a man.
I don't know if
you're
that's a
just
myth,
human."
but I've heard that a lot.
What you've heard, you get the whole point. It's
He
just,
wanted to remain grounded. He was afraid that it would go to his head, because the ego would take over and you start believing the hype. And apparently he had someone in his ear, and he wrote his whole life. He wrote in meditations, which was never meant to be published, but it was his life lessons. It's beautiful. And I read it. I loved it so much, because there's nothing about it. I believe he was an atheist. I think he was. I mean, there's nothing in his writings that indicate he was a believer in Jesus, which for that time it was complicated. But I thought, well, okay, because I look into Buddhism, all these personal responsibility philosophies. And I thought, Christians have a really bad habit of just giving it all to God or blaming it all on the devil. You know what I mean? They don't take personal responsibility. In the Bible, when it said, "Take my yoke," or "I'll take your yoke," or whatever, meaning he'll help you, but you still need to do your part. And that's where Stoicism and Buddhism and all these wonderful life philosophies that are taught, that you have personal responsibility too, buddy. You don't just get to pray away all your problems. You need to practice Stoicism. You need to learn how to breathe. If you can't do that, then you're really going to suffer. That's something we're teaching in the
Faith
class.
without
When
works.
you feel emotions and you're uncertain, what can you do? And that's why they say before you go on stage, breathe. Well, that's a technique that people aren't really taught. You can box breathe, you can Wim Hof breathe. But the idea is, so they were teaching it in class and they were like, this is how you box breathe. But nobody talked about why. And it was the Indians that started box breathing, the 5N, hold 5 or whatever. And the Navy SEALs copied it. But the idea is not, it doesn't have anything to do with the breath. It's the fact that breathing is more complicated than you think, and it gives you something to focus on to allow your nervous system to just relax. Instead of focusing on this thing that you have no control over, maybe it's a mission, maybe it's, a conflict at work, or just saying hello to a woman. Whatever the thing is that you're terrified of, shut that part of your brain down and focus on something you can do. And breathing is one of them. And it's way harder than you think, way harder, especially if there's a pattern to it. And man, it works every single time. I've done it with them before. He would be driving me when he was learning how to drive a stick shift. And I remember the stress of it. And I would just tell myself, he didn't know what I was doing, but I was over there focusing on my breaths to calm my nervous system, because he could feel my energy. My anxiety would transfer right over to him. And to some degree that was good, because, you got to feel that pressure of messing up. Anyway, yeah, breathing was the greatest thing I ever learned. And I taught you guys about Wim Hof breathing, didn't I? You can get high as a damn kite.
The
People
Iceman.
literally have psychedelic experiences doing Wim Hof breathing. Have you ever researched it?
Yeah, the Iceman. I
The
have the
Iceman
book.
has more doggone world records, climbed like 2/3 of Everest in shorts because
Barefoot.
of his breathing.
Barefoot, sir.
He did one world record where he swam under ice and was supposed to go out this other hole, and he missed it. He couldn't find it. His eyes started freezing over, couldn't see. He swam back, and he knew it was the moment he was going to die. He accepted that death is inevitable because he couldn't swim back. He couldn't find the hole. At the last second, he did find it. But what a fascinating guy. Wim Hof, if you ever want to research somebody, I learned so much. Like, this is so crazy that they're rewriting medical books because he can control his nervous system in ways. He can regulate his body temperature. He can heal faster through these breathing techniques. It is amazing.
They put him on a
gotta look this up.
slab of ice
In ice
in underwater.
water. Yeah.
And
And he can do it longer than anybody else
And
just from breathing.
they put all these electrodes and all this crap on him, and they were like, he was able to raise the temperature of his body.
Yeah.
He was able to regulate what it did, all by his breathing and focus, like a yogi but of ice. Like, it was really weird, man. He's badass.
And he learned that he said, the cold is my teacher. His wife had committed suicide. And he had some overwhelming urge to get into this ice cold water. He don't like ice water, but it's this mind over matter. And he discovered the breathing technique because he realized, what's the first thing you do when you go into cold water? You breathe in deep. And he realized, and he started like leaning into it and discovered he has transformed so many lives just from breathing. I know it changed mine. It's harder. You're supposed to do 30 breaths. I get dizzy just thinking about it, but you're supposed to do 30 deep breaths and then hold your breath as long as you can. And I think the longest I ever held my breath was around 2 minutes. And then you let it out, and then you do it again. You do it 3 times. And people literally have psychedelic experiences that would be equivalent to dimethyltryptamine,
Well,
I'm just
DMT.
thinking of the
Without
medical
oxygen
side of that.
going
I'm
to
just
your
like, no, I
brain.
get what's going on there.
Yeah.
What
Like,
do you
there's no
think?
oxygen in
It's
your
like
brain.
hyperventilating.
All the leaves are brown.
Okay, it's funny because in the
Yeah.
military, we did something called rocket rides. You ever heard of rocket
It
rides?
sounds like an army thing.
Okay,
Sounds like a
so
whippet thing.
you get in a non-sexual. Yeah, it is an army thing. So my buddy had taught me how to do it, and man, I can't believe I'm gonna tell my kids this. But anyways, you get in a non-sexual position, like you get your buddy behind you, and you cross your arms, and you start breathing as deep as you can, as fast as you can. You just hyperventilate. I don't know how many times you do it, and then your buddy picks you up and holds you until you pass out. And then we lay each other in the floor. So in the military and basic training, for fun, we would take these rocket rides and you go out for like 10 seconds. You're out. But you can live a whole life in this 10 seconds. Have you never heard of this? You have these dreams that seem to last years, and you wake up and you think, and then when you start flipping and flopping, you think, are they going to die? Anyways, you help them up, and they're like, oh my God, this, and you just, it's unbelievable how much you unpack from it.
Weren't there kids doing this in school like 10 years ago?
Probably.
Yeah, it's called huffing.
No.
huffing's
No, like they
going
would pin them
on.
up against the locker
it's the
until they
same
passed
thing.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, I
breathe.
missed that trend.
Oh man. Okay.
It was so much fun.
I
Brandon,
would-
did you ever do something like that?
No, but I know kids that did in school. They
Yeah.
would pick them up and then they'd pass out.
Yeah.
I wanted nothing to do with it.
So at this time we can
Personally-
talk about
Attaboy.
toxic brain injury and what
Well, I don't
precipitates-
really know how there would be a brain injury. You don't really take too many
Yeah.
breaths, and then you just restrict the breathing for maybe 15 seconds, and you go, and they're
Yeah,
out. They're
yeah.
out. You lay them in
Sounds
the
like a
floor.
blast.
It was so much fun.
I would rather just
I
go
was
out
so
to Arizona,
popular.
pay somebody for a ayahuasca trip. Let me learn
No,
something.
I'll do the
Let's go.
peyote. I'm not doing the ayahuasca.
Well, I'll do peyote.
Yeah,
Peyote's,
okay.
peyote's
perfect.
where I want to start. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll rock with that.
Okay.
Like
I'm
expand my
terrified of
mind,
all those
man.
things. I'm terrified of all those things.
But you're fine with making yourself
that
depriving your
seemed more
brain of
natural.
oxygen and passing out.
That seemed more natural.
Just completely.
You know, no extra substances. You're
Maybe
just
mushrooms.
depriving it of one.
Maybe mushrooms is the way to go.
No, I
I
mean,
mean, peyote's natural, ain't it?
huh?
I mean,
Yeah.
peyote,
for a
that's
little
pretty
catch.
natural.
I think they're all natural. DMT, your liver produces it.
I mean, I keep hearing all the
That's-
benefits of the mushrooms and psychedelics, and it's one of those things like, man, if I didn't have a government job, I would definitely give that a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember people talk about microdosing and how that kind of helps their focus, and I'm just like, man, I just got to do more research to see, but like that'd be right up my alley.
Well, look, I'll talk about it because I told my kids about it because I never imagined I'd talk about it on a podcast, but I tried mushrooms. I experimented for a little while with microdosing, and I might as well
remember.
give my experience. Like I was measuring it out, and there was so many health benefits to microdosing that I did that for about a year. No side effects whatsoever. You don't even know you're on it. It just makes your day a little bit brighter. But at the same time, I was researching about a heavy dose. They call it a hero's dose. Brennan, I did tell you the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't want my kids to find it the hard way, but I was very intentional behind my motives. I knew why I wanted to do it. I was going through crazy life experience, and I thought, I want to see if it works. I had just seen so many benefits to soldiers coming back with PTSD, and man, I had so many questions, and it was on my journey to get to know God more. I swear to you, because I was like, I had this idea about God and what it was and consciousness and all these things. And I'm going to tell you that I decided I'm doing it by myself.
Oh,
Boy, did I. And I recorded the entire experience, at least what I could remember. And so the first one I took, I thought, I took too many in the beginning, but then I just kept going. And I was like, you know what, if we're going to do it, let's just see where this thing goes. And I ate all of them. It was a lot. A whole lot. And I have pictures of how many grams it was. It was a lot of grams. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to just go all in. And boy, did I meet God. Holy cow. I have a video of me realizing it's about to kick in.
I
And,
saw this.
huh?
You showed me this.
I did.
Ages
And
ago.
well, I started recording because I thought, I don't know if I'm going to come back from this. I don't know if I'll ever be me again. I was really concerned about this. When I say it took a year to make this decision, I mean, it was at least a year or longer. And I was enjoying every bit of it. Like when I could see how everything was made, and I was seeing these geometric shapes, and in every shape there was a code, just like the the periodic table. Everything to me looked like the periodic table. Everything in my house, I could see it made up, how it was made up. Everything was information, and it would have like a weird figure and then some weird number, and it was crazy. And then I had these waves of data just crashing in them, and all it was information. And then finally I said, okay, this thing's about to take off. I've got to lay down. And I made a video. I made 50 videos. One day I'm going to put them all in one video and watch it back because it's really hard to watch. And oh God, I'm going to tell the story. I can't believe I won't tell the story. So I lay down on my couch and I send my kids a video. I make a video to my kids specifically and said, I love you. And if I don't come back from this, I just want you to know I'm sorry, because I didn't know. I had no idea what was about to happen. It was crazy enough. And I laid back and I literally evaporated. Gone. Gone. My body was gone and I was so present. I've never been more present in my life. And what I felt was like, I don't know how to describe it, because I'll tell you the whole thing. I met the devil, but I experienced God in some way. It was the most peaceful, wonderful experience of when I came out of it. I grabbed my phone and I went to record and I accidentally took a picture of myself. And I showed you that picture. It's a horrific picture. I was crying so hard. My whole face had swollen. I mean, it had damn near, it was half again bigger. My face was so swollen from the tears. And I was crying and I have a video and I was saying, I have to tell everybody. I have to tell everybody. And then I started coming out of it, and that's when I met the devil. No one told me that you shouldn't look at yourself. And oh boy, did I. My eyes were so black. They were blacker than your hat. Huge black. And all I could see when I looked at myself was a demonic face. And I just kind of ignored it. And I thought, okay, this is a side effect you didn't experience. So I go into the mirror and I'm just staring at myself as the devil. I was a demonic figure and I was having a hard time with it. And I just sat there. I was fully alert to some degree. It wasn't like out of control. I was still thinking for myself. And I thought, oh, I get it. We all have darkness inside of us and we get to choose. Do we want to go to the light or we want to go to the dark? Darkness, evil is an inherent thing that all humans have. And based on your choices in life, you get to lean into the darkness or you get to lean into the light. And I've always chosen light every single time. And it was such an awakening experience. Wow, it was so incredible. And it's not something you want to tamper with unless you're fully prepared to possibly never coming back. And I recorded all of it. Well, I recorded the parts that I was conscious in. Boy, listen to that silence.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm so glad you chose the light, because I'm here looking at you going, this guy would be one hell of a supervillain.
Yeah.
Like, you would be like movie level supervillain.
You'd
We
be the
all have the
Vulture
capacity.
from Spider-Man on steroids.
We have the capacity for it, but nothing inside of me would lean into that. But it did show me. That's why I say I met the devil. He's inside of each and every one of us. We have you get to choose. You get to decide what you think about, what you dwell on. And that was the experience. Everything starts with your thoughts. Everything. It's rarely emotion first. And if it is some level of emotion, connection for a girl or whatever, you allow your thoughts to fantasize about experiences. And I see people, I have had friends, I know a guy that fantasized about the darkness and went very demonic to where he ended up killing a girl, a kid that I grew up with. And I watched his interview and he talked about it like it went too far to where he started hearing voices and like, it was crazy. I was like, see, what you focus on is what you become. And yeah. So if you ever do it with someone you trust, I would assume.
I feel like I need to read a few Bible verses after that. I
mean, I kind of feel like you got granted, on the outside, it was your experience, but to me, that sounds like you did it by yourself. That's a very enlightening journey.
It was. I'll never do it again. You don't have to. It's not something you would want to do it again.
I think one of the hardest things for people to do is, and oh man, if I remember exactly how this got phrased to where I thought about it, is that everybody wants to believe they have this great inner light, and I believe they do. Mm-hmm. But along with that, at some point, you have to embrace the darkness that it lives with inside you. Yeah. You need to understand the atrocities that you are capable of, so that you can realize that light has to win.
I learned that from Jordan Peterson. He said, if you can't visualize yourself as the guard at the gas chamber, if you can't imagine you're capable of that, then you'll be the one doing it. Mm-hmm. If you it was really insightful. You need to know that you have the capacity for evil things, but you get to choose. You get to choose for yourself. And it was very satisfying seeing that thing inside of me and realizing that I've always chosen the right thing.
So, interesting thing on that. It was one of those things I really wanted to talk about, and I'm glad we're here. So, there was a point within the last 6 years where, we're all watching those war movies and stuff. We always see ourselves as the good guy, right? Yeah. So I started watching some of these movies, like especially the World War II, and you got like the Nazis that are coming in and like to the villages and stuff. Like bad guy, right? And I started identifying it was just some of the things they're doing. I'm like, I did some of those things, and I started thinking back on it, and it was just, so it brings up this concept that I learned through therapy. It's called moral injury. And it took me a while to really break that down, because it's like there was no injury done to me, but like, no, it's about in those times, your morals become compromised because you allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
And it was especially in these areas where, at first when I went in, like I was all gung ho. Yeah, we're here for America. We're going to make this place great. And by the end of that 9 months, like I remember doing some of these patrols and I was so over these people. And be going through, and like when you go through their houses, like my job as a combat engineer is we're looking for weapons, we're looking for explosives, and like I had found so much stuff in all these different people's houses, and I was like, there's no saving these people, I'm over it. And I'd be going through, and so normally we'd run our metal detector across these giant stacks of mattresses and blankets these people would keep, because that's what they sleep on at night. And instead of doing that, by the end I'm going through and just pulling each one down in every room. I'm just thrashing people's stuff, like and then just leaving and not thinking a thing about it. No remorse whatsoever. And yeah, so then start getting into this moral injury group that I was part of for a little bit. And it's just, you realize that, it's the environment, not the environment, but yeah, allowing yourself to be that morally compromised to where that you did those things and yeah, you became the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And facing that and learning how to not do that again. But for me, that was a hard thing to face. It's just like, nah, you were evil there for a while. You got.
It's part of being a human, I didn't know if you'd talk about those things because it's hard, man. War is complicated, and you see things. I can't sit back and judge you, But my father-in-law used to tell me stories about Vietnam, and it was crazy. He had pictures of some of the things where there was one picture he showed me. He had a guy blindfolded with a bra. He was like, the funniest thing is we can't remember where the damn bra come from. They're in the Viet Cong. He'd gotten shot. Like he was true infantry, and he would open up to me about a lot of that darkness that he experienced, and I just let him do it. And I don't pry, because I don't know what people want to talk about, but I appreciate you opening up about it. And I think to some degree, your kindness is a result of that darkness, because you are the sweetest person I know. And that's why I kind of introduced you as somebody with a capacity for violence, but chooses to be kind. And I love that about you.
Oh, thank you. And you're 100% right, is those experiences and being those different people I've been throughout my life, it's really brought me to where it's like, no, I want to be kind. I want to teach.
And you didn't justify it either. You reflected on it and said, I don't like that version of me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so as a teacher, when I'm teaching like EMS students and stuff, it's where like they find one place or they find one paramedic they want to ride. Like, no. You do two here, you do two here, you do two here. If I have any control over it, you're going to do it with a different person every time. Because the idea is that, and I try to explain to him, is that I don't want you to just see like the best person doing the thing. I want you to take a piece from here, a piece from here, go watch this person and realize I don't want to be that. You're going to learn your style. You're going to make your own style when you do this. And I want you to learn from the best. I want you to learn what to do from the best. I want you to learn not to do from the best. And it's a huge thing to be able to create yourself. Don't emulate somebody to the T. Find your style. Find who you are. And yeah, like I really feel like I've learned a lot of kindness through a lot of the evil things that I did.
Yeah.
People lose compassion and lose that kindness, so to speak, because it's so easy to become callous
Especially when you
Mm.
lose friends.
and you
Well,
lose
When you
people,
lose people,
you become
you
bitter.
recognize
Yeah.
everyone in that group guilty by association.
Yes.
And good grief, you could be next. You don't
You
know
know.
who to trust. And so I understand it was probably a survival mechanism, right? Because kindness in those situations will probably get you killed.
Yes, like there were several times we got taken advantage of, and I remember one in particular that was one that broke me on the first one, is that we built a really good relationship with this one sheik that was down there, and he was a Bedouin sheik. So the Bedouins are this tribe that like they are all over the Arabian Peninsula. They travel, they're nomadic. But he had this nice big house in the certain city, and so he gave us intel. He didn't like I think it was the Muj back then, but yeah. Like where they were, he's giving us all kinds of intel. We remember like we hadn't heard anything from him in a week, so we made sure on a patrol that day we're going to check on him. We got out there, everybody was slaughtered.
Wow.
I mean, like gunned down everybody. He's in his little living area. All his grandkids are
He's
there.
dead.
And, huh?
He's dead.
Oh yeah, he's dead. And
Because he had been giving you guys intel.
Oh yeah, like just nicest guy. Every time we show up, he'd give you a chai tea. Like he'd have a meal set out for us. Great dude. And like we did all kinds of things to try and protect him, and just they found the weakness and they took him out. And I was so bitter about that.
Yeah. I don't know how you see kids, these innocent little things. I don't know. I don't want to get in too deep into our feelings, but that's not in the second podcast. But
Well,
I try to visualize it because I've never seen it for myself. I don't want to think about those things, but to relate to my friends and try to understand your mind, you try to put yourself in those situations. And I don't know, it may sound like a dark thought, but sometimes that's where you have to go, I guess. And
Well-
shit, you've lived it, and I have a hard time even imagining it.
and honestly, I mean, I think it might be in the wiring, but like before, I didn't differentiate the kids from the adults very much.
Really?
Like it didn't strike me.
Oh, you probably brain was protecting you, maybe?
Maybe, but when I became a father,
Yeah.
now just even seeing that stuff in movies, or like I remember when I was working the ED for Vanderbilt Peds,
Yeah.
like it was a complete shift. And just like now it's like the emotions that get elicited just from a movie. Like I can't watch where like an abusive situation's going on.
I had to shut off the Epstein stuff.
I-
I was
Oh,
doing way better
no,
with the
man.
whole
I don't even wanna know.
cannibalism and eating people. When I started learning about the sadistic shit they were doing to groom children, you can't fathom how evil people are willing to be. It's unbelievable what they were doing. And I thought, I can't even read about this. I can't watch these videos. Like just letting that level of darkness in me,
Mhm.
I knew would compromise me. And I
Mhm.
just thought, hold on. Some people are not, you're just not meant to see these things. You're not meant to be aware of them. Literally, it was easier to understand cannibalism than it was to what they were doing with these children. And I just thought, I do not need to go down that rabbit. It'll drive you crazy.
Oh, there's there's one guy I watch. It's like Dorian or something like that. But yeah, he's gone off the rails with it, and
Yeah.
just some of the stuff they talk about. I don't know how anyone could even think about doing that to children. It's just that, yeah.
I won't even bring it up
No, yeah,
because it's just not fair to people,
no. But but to me, I think some of those things are actually going to end up being less shocking to like the current generation and maybe the generation before them, because they've come up in this to where there's been a lot of movies around this subject. There's a lot of content around these subjects to where it's like you look at all the horror movies now. Like horror movies used to be very like was it kind of psychological, but like the violence was very playful and just stuff like
Campy.
that. Whereas now it's like hostile dialed to 11.
Well, actually, what I'm thinking of and what I witnessed was darker than you could ever imagine. You can't even go there. You could never fathom that people have the capacity for such levels of evil. And then the way they do it is in such a I don't even, there's no words to describe the scenarios they put these children in to build their confidence. and I can't repeat it, but I just want to say, like, it's a level of evil. You think evil, deep, dark, demonic, violent. There's other levels of evil that are mind altering, manipulative.
They come with a smile on their face.
And you think, how the hell did they think that? You just realize there's no limit to evil. Like, it's as far as you could imagine.
And that's why
you can't imagine.
Just even more today, of where when somebody's coming and they're offering something, my first instinct is just take a step back and be like, why? Why are you offering that to me?
100%. My alarm bells go off anytime someone is trying to do something nice. I don't like nice people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's to me, it's like, I hate that I feel this way a lot of times. Just be like, I need you to justify why you're being nice to me, because no one's nice to me
100% of the time. Kindness is a different thing. I like good people. Good people say and do the difficult things in spite of the possibility of losing that friendship. But nice people will say and do whatever is necessary to keep you in their circle or to get you closer. They're trying to gain something. They're trying to justify the means, and they don't even know they're doing it a lot of times. They suppress it. They're in a state of denial or cognitive dissonance. And
sometimes it's just very calculated manipulation.
Yeah, it's just I always assume I'm in a psyop of some
and they'll
kind
justify
until proven otherwise.
They'll justify, what is it saying? Like they justify the means for the ending or whatever.
Yeah, means to an end.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's Julian Dory.
That's right.
It's really good podcast. But I mean, put your tinfoil hat on too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes this way now, but
because
it's very
I
interesting.
like to be aware to a point, but then I realize, well, what can I do about it? It's going to dim my light. But more than anything,
I agree.
So I be careful.
I'm fascinated by stuff like that, and I love,
they won't
supernatural
let me put on a
and this and that,
and go in there and take these people out. And if I can't do that,
which is what most of us would want to do.
That's what we want to do. Honesty. That's the only way I could ever face it, is knowing that I'm righting a wrong. But if I can't do that, if I can't be a vigilante, I'm just going to try to be the best father and friend I can be.
It's in our culture. I mean, you've seen these things in the motorcycle culture too. A dead pedophile doesn't reoffend. They'll have these hats and these shirts that's like pedophile hunting license. Support your local whatever, kill a pedophile. Like, and it's a thing, and there's an anti subculture, I guess it would be, for it. It's a thing, man.
This is why I'm so cautious with words and the use of words and what's right and what's wrong, and based on how you feel. And the stuff they try to justify in so many ways, they're trying to normalize odd behavior, and it's not normal. It's okay. It's wrong in so many ways.
Well, and going into some of those for me, like forcing myself to go into some of those dark places is to learn the strategy so that I can recognize when it's happened, and I can teach others, be like, no, if this is happening, take a minute. Try and figure out what's happening in the background. Because if they're putting you down one lane, they want you down that one lane for a reason, and you need to be looking outwards. It's like when I used to be on the bus, the thing that always drove me crazy was when I show up on a scene, I got PD already there, I got fire already there, so there's like 8-10 people already on scene, and they're all looking inboard, every single one of them. I'm like, anybody got outward security?
Yeah.
You're like, what if somebody? What we know over here? There's like all kinds of homeless people living over here, So is anybody looking out for any of this? It drives me absolutely nuts. Nobody has that 360 mentality.
The peripherals will get you.
Oh, every time.
I'm always alert.
You're creeping up on 2 hours. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
It
man.
flew
Oh
by.
wow.
I can't say my
You're at
last
a minute
thing then.
45.
Well, I think that just means Casey
I had
comes
something I
back.
really
I'm
wanted
down,
to say,
man.
but I'm not going to be able to
Hello.
say it.
Because this is it. It honestly didn't even feel that long.
No, I was
Like
thinking,
I feel
was
like
about
we
to
were
ask,
just
has it been an
chatting,
hour?
man.
I
Like
was literally about to say,
yeah.
has it been an hour yet?
It flew
Yeah.
by. I wasn't paying attention.
I love it when they're like that. It's a damn good podcast.
We'll end right there, but then I'm going to go ahead and say the thing that we'll end right there. But then I'm going to say the thing that I wanted to say.
Note.
And you can decide if we can leave it or not. But this is a subject we can't talk about because of everybody being offended, right? Everybody's worried about offending some culture or sexuality or whatever. And just one in particular that I think is I've kind of wrapped my head around lately. Let's just say homosexuality for one. People will say, well, I was born this way, right? And this is where I have a problem. I don't give a shit. Homosexual, fine. Don't care. But there's a funny twist to it. There's certain individuals in every group that go a little darker than others. I'm just using this one group as an example. But like an individual that claims to be a homosexual and claims to have been born that way, and they don't have a choice, but then they try to convert straight people, right? Like the idea behind, does this make sense? Like, hold on, if you truly believe that this was not a choice, why are you trying to offer me the choice? Does this make sense? Have you
Kind
ever
of
been
pushing
tempted? Like it's almost
their-
like a game. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like a game to convert a straight dude.
It's
There's a group of individuals that want to convert people in every single, and I singled out the homosexuals because that's an extreme version, but I'm sure I can't leave that in the podcast. But you help me understand what I'm trying
But
to
I
say.
mean, I've been on the other end of that where I've been with a group of guys where we've all been like, you ever converted a lesbian? You ever tried to switch her back? You know, and it's that guy talk, and it's that
I
like,
wonder if that's the same.
you know what I mean? Is that the same thing where we're like, if you know, and it's wrong if they really are born that
I think
way or
it's
whatever.
wrong
but
if I'm trying to convince somebody to
but-
be like me.
but trying to pull someone in is like me trying to bring you to my cult.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're trying
It's
to
the same
reinforce your
exact
belief system,
thing.
and the more people, it could be religion. You
Could
see,
be
in
religion,
religion,
yes.
politics, anytime you identify with a group, you're stronger with more. What you're stronger was the saying. When you're trying to convert people over to believe your way, stronger in numbers or whatever. But like you reinforce. I don't like anyone that tries to convince me to believe like they do. If they try to understand where I'm coming from, I feel safe. But if
Mhm.
they try to get me to convert to their way of thinking, I instantly alarm bells go off.
Yeah, I'm going to be much more accepting of a concept as soon as like, okay, you know what? I'm here. You got questions? Ask. Otherwise, you just let me know what you need. Versus someone's like, no, you're going to do this, this, this. You got to follow this. And if you don't believe this person is everything, then you don't belong here. It's like, that's how I grew up in the church. You know, it was just like, you know, hellfire, brimstone. And you know what? If you're not following God, then you're going to hell no matter what.
And everything else is wrong.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
in my journey, you know what? And this is where I'm at now. Is that I've come to the conclusion that you know the top 5 religions in the world, they all have the same. Most of them have the same stories. They got the same morals. Some of them have a few more gods involved, but I mean, most of it's the same blueprint. So who are we to be killing each other over of who's got it right?
My buddy he digs at me and another friend a lot about religion. And it's funny because I don't disagree with him. He likes to talk shit about religions. And I'm like, bro, I've said for years, if any one of them are right, we're all screwed. Like, I think if you're talking about this one group, the Church of Christ believe they're the only ones that's right. You know, on the Seventh-day Adventists, all these different groups think that they're the only. I'm like, well, okay, 99% of the population is burning in hell. Doesn't sound too good to me. That's why I don't believe in religion.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is man-made. I believe in the book, and that's all I care about. Man's interpretation of that book, and they say you have to do this. That's why I like the experience. It's non-denominational. It's just they're just trying
and
to
it's the book.
teach from
Mhm.
the book more than preach. It's way more teaching than it is preaching.
I mean, I learned more from listening to Pastor Corey. It's those lessons of how to live life, and that's why I'm so intent upon having the kids come up in the church. Is that like I'm a spiritual person, and I'm working on that religious side. However, just my experience with the experience has been where they reinforce a lot of those moral structure lessons. And I came to the conclusion that with the kids of where it's just where for the longest time I was like, I don't want them to have to go if they don't want to, you know, just because, you know, it's like I didn't want to go to, and I felt like it was just I was being forced to. But I've come to the realization that it's like, no, I'm the leader of my family, and I need them to be in an environment of like-minded people that I want them to emulate. And I need them to be in an environment to teach them these moral lessons because I can't teach them all of this. They need to see examples of it working. And a church is a great way to do that.
Corey's a great example. I mean, he's not compromised by a cultish, you know what I mean? He was raised not raised, but he was influenced by the Pentecostal belief system. And then one day he woke up and realized, I don't agree with this. The Bible doesn't agree with this. And so he had the ability to think for himself. And, you know, he realized, oh, hold on, maybe I'm wrong. And that's what's missing in this world. Everybody just reinforces what they were taught, their belief system. They try to convert everyone to their belief system versus stepping outside of their own and reflecting and saying, hold on, does this even make sense? And that's really the best way to describe my life. I don't really have a lot of answers. I just have a lot of questions.
Well,
And I'm always reflecting on my belief system and thinking, hold on, am I on the right track or not? I'm not ever trying to force my way of thinking on other people. I want to explore it.
And I think so for me, just I had this realization that goes back to like you should be asking questions.
Yeah.
You should be asking questions in your spirituality or in your religious pursuit, because you got to understand the mission at the end.
Yeah.
The mission at the end is to be a good person, a good provider, and a leader. You know, it's not to be like a, lack of a better term, Bible beater, or just, you know, like this is the word, this is it. It's like you have to understand it's about being a good person. It's about being that leader
And challenging things that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like Jesus was talking about John the Baptist, even he had doubt, right? I was watching the Chosen, and he praises the fact that Jesus was like saying, hey, look, go back and, do you remember the part where John the Baptist was questioning everything? And he admired that. He liked that. Think for yourself, you know?
And I don't see how this day and time of how we've had religion abused so many times of how you can sit there and not ask questions.
We're taught to say, have faith. Have faith.
Yep.
Shut up.
Well, faith is,
Shut up.
it has its place and it's important.
Mm-hmm.
But
You're
I
allowed
think
to ask questions.
But you're allowed to question things.
First principle thinking. That's what he
Yeah.
gave us. Every answer should be nothing more than the next question. As soon as you get an answer, just say, okay, why?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that way, you'll find God every single time.
That's one of my favorite things about Corey. What I have found is he'll tell you, you're allowed to disagree with this, and my office hours are this, and we can debate this, and we can discuss it, and that's fine. You're welcome to, as long as you can do it respectfully. And then he says, and if this isn't the place for you, it was a pleasure. There are a lot of churches that can be your home around town. I wish you the best as long as you do find another home. He's not worried about butts in seats or money in the coffers. Like, he has faith, he has conviction, he preaches from the book, and if it's for you, great. If it's not, he hopes that you find it elsewhere. And that's incredibly powerful.
He has a very childlike approach to the Bible, and I like that.
Mm.
It's not,
He's not a
he doesn't
recruiting
give a lot of
poster.
his opinions.
No.
He's not a recruitment poster. And that's probably what I love the most. He's not shoving it down your throat. He's giving you the information, and he says, do with this what you will.
Mm-hmm.
I that's what really called to me. And that he's bold enough to talk about issues that are difficult to discuss, that are in the zeitgeist. He talked about not mixing religion and politics, which I completely agree, but he doesn't shy away from current events.
Yeah.
And regardless of your party, regardless of what's going on, because there's things that are happening now in our lives that need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed from a biblical standpoint. If we're going to survive it, if we're going to get past it. And he has zero, compulsion about bringing it up or this, that. To me, I find it brave, and that brings me back every week. I love it.
There's some of these situations that happen. They're just so chaotic. You have to bring order to it. And yeah, the Bible provides a framework from where you can bring order to that and start to have a conversation.
He nailed it too, because when I first started reading the Bible, I started in Genesis and thought, this is all nonsense. It's like, none of this makes any sense. Like, I just rejected it. And he was actually talking about it 2 Sundays ago. He said, it depends on your mindset. You read this one way. If you don't have like if you haven't surrendered, this book will not make sense to you. It will never make sense to you until you accept what is, surrender your life. You're right. And then the words jump out of the book, and it's like clarity. And I was like, oh my gosh, I experienced that so much. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. You don't get to read that and understand it until you surrender. That's why it sounds like nonsense to you. And then once you surrender, but that's got to be on your own terms. Like, he'll meet you where you're at.
But that's also why it's called the living word.
Yeah.
Because it speaks to each and every one of us
It's
very
the
differently.
The book is the only reason,
you know,
even though I was making fun of it, in Genesis, I was reading through it, and that was a while back. I've been on a journey.
You were in a
while.
different place.
Yeah, and I was not on the right track. If somebody was trying to convince me, and I was reading through it. Anyways, the point is that I had to be in a frame of mind. It had to happen on its own. No one was going to get me any closer until he was ready for me. And I thought, well, why did it take so long? Oh, never mind. I know why. I needed all these life experiences. I needed to experience all these losses. I needed to go through these worldly things to make sense for this to actually apply to my life. And I thought, oh, okay, I was on that mission. I was on the hero's journey, you could say. You know, when the tribe elders send you out at 14 and you got to go slay a lion or whatever, you know, I was on that journey. Now I'm back as I guess you could say, I don't know, a student, I guess, because I'm not a teacher.
Your crucible, your yogi,
yeah,
whatever it is. But that's
you
another
need
thing
those-
we've lost, that rite of passage into manhood, into,
Yeah.
you know, you talk to the nephew here about joining the military. I wish after high school everybody had to do a year or two like
I
they do
told
in
him,
other
I
countries.
said, you
It would
shouldn't be
change
able to
the
vote
world.
unless you've
You know.
served at least
You know.
basic training in
Yeah.
one of the branches. I don't care which
do
one.
something, get out and carry on. But I think it would change things, discipline, the sensitivities, the victimhood, all of these things that are plaguing us now. I think it would
I know
it would significantly change culture, change.
You can't appreciate it until you've experienced
Yeah.
the suffering.
Yeah.
It's
That's-
beautiful.
It's one of those things with like the Israeli Defense Force. Yeah, you
Mm.
have compulsory or mandatory service time, and I mean, I would take it a step further, where it's just like, look, yeah, you got to do at least like 4 years of service, and then you got 20 years of reserve service. However, you don't have to be toting a gun. You can go do clerical work. You can go do something that's of aid to the country.
What was the book that you were telling me about?
Starship Troopers.
You broke that down, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, you
Maybe
got
that's the next
citizens and
version.
civilians. And
Citizens and civilians.
I don't care how
To
offended
be a
people get
citizen,
by it
you
either.
have
I'm
to
like,
serve.
that's- yeah,
and have to have rights. You have to serve as
going back to stakeholders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, this
Well,
is like the
old book.
the space movie with the
Yeah.
Hold on.
bugs.
Okay, so if you want, I still got a copy. I've read like 10 times. You gotta be careful because it's falling apart. But Starship Troopers, the book, is very different from the movie.
Okay, but we're
gonna
talking
read
about
it.
the same
Yeah.
thing
So,
basically.
I'm
okay,
gonna read it.
Funny
I
story.
want to read it. Yeah.
Yeah, funny story. Starship Troopers is at the time I was in the Marine Corps. It was on the commandant's reading list. You could read it and get points towards your promotion if you did a book.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna read.
And when you read it, you'll see why.
Starship
it is.
Troopers.
It's like the one of the big slogans in there is "Everybody works, everybody fights," which really
I
And I
speaks
think
to.
I love the idea that you have an option. You can just be what was the option? A citizen or a what?
Citizen or civilian.
Civilian.
Yeah.
So if you choose not to, if your belief system doesn't allow you to be a part of this, okay, well you can exist. You're just going to lose a lot of your rights, down to reproductive rights.
Yeah.
You weren't even allowed to reproduce without
Whoa.
certain. But
Well, you'd have to go through all the like big process and everything. But if you were like a citizen, then you got voting rights. It's easier to get married. It's pretty much an easy process to have a kid and things.
yeah, because you have a
Okay.
stake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like you had to be a landowner at one time
Right,
to vote. Similar
right.
situation. You had to invest in your community.
Mhm.
Okay, now I have to read this.
Okay. We
All right.
sorry, Brennan. I've gone long time.
I feel like this would have been a great start to our next episode.
Yeah,
With
which is
Casey.
there.
it is a good start.
No,
to
with
the next
Casey, I
episode.
mean.
Well, you're talking about my kids.
No,
Oh, the next
like
episode.
split
with
it
Casey.
into for
Casey,
him.
would you be interested in? Because we're looking for our return guest. We got to get Greg back on. Everybody we've had, I want to be a return guest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tim, Rocky,
I love this.
Miss
Yeah.
Barbara's Miss
This is
Barbara. wants
healthy,
to
isn't
come
it?
back.
I'm
And
telling you
your
what.
kids are going to be
Therapeutic, by the way.
at some
Oh, it
point. Your
is.
kids are going to be 18.
Mhm.
And they're going to find this podcast and be like, oh shit, my dad. I see where my dad's grown. I see where he thinks now and where he used
Or
to
I
think.
understand this better,
Yeah.
you know.
So that's
it's
one
so
of those
cool.
areas where I struggle right now because I'm trying to set myself up to where like I can teach them all these lessons, but I keep going back to that Michael Keaton movie I told you about, where he gets
Document your life.
huh?
Document your life.
Well, document your life, but he gets diagnosed with cancer while his wife is pregnant. And so he starts making all of these how-to videos
Yeah.
so that his son can learn from him. It goes from simple, like where he's just showing him how to shave, to where he's having that conversation to a video camera about what his son's going to go through when he breaks up with his first girlfriend,
yeah.
or when
Oh.
mom decides to marry another guy and that's his dad now. And I was just like,
What's the name of it?
oh, I can't remember. I gotta,
Look it
I'll
up.
Google it here in a little bit.
Old school Michael Keaton movie.
Yeah, old school Michael Keaton movie.
Oh, well, I love
That's-
Michael Keaton. So
But
I'm
yeah.
thinking of like movies where that like Mr. Mom.
where
He did some
became
funny ones.
clones.
No, that was Multiplicity.
I
That
know,
was
I know, I know,
hilarious.
I know.
Video Reshaped.
goofy Michael Keaton's got some range, boy. Tell you what, he's my Batman.
He's my Batman too.
Yes.
When he came out in that what was that, Justice League or whatever, and
I
he
like
was
hearing
like,
myself
yeah,
with
My
headphones.
Life.
I'm Batman.
Back in 93.
My Life?
My Life back in 93.
Well, I hope,
Yeah.
Brennan, your kids someday will appreciate all these damn videos I've made. There's hundreds of them.
I'm grateful.
Do you watch them?
Sometimes.
I got you a
Depending on
microphone
the
for a
guest.
reason.
Oh, you can't hear me. I wasn't talking to the mic.
So say it all over again, nephew.
It's too late.
Do you like the videos that I make?
I do.
Oh, I love you so
I
much.
appreciate them and grateful to have
Yeah.
them because
I
even
love
if I'm not
this.
one of them now, I know one day.
God, I'm telling you, man, I am so wealthy. There's not a dollar that would make a damn difference in my life. My relationship with my kids,
I love this. This
I
is
live
beautiful
for it.
to see.
It's so incredible. It's so incredible. And it's not always fun, is it, Brennan?
Nope. But it was.
And he didn't believe when I said it. Really, I was told he is a huge inspiration for me in fatherhood. Just seeing just him showing up with his kids to help me on my truck, and then also just the way he takes them everywhere, shows them so many things. It's beautiful, and I hope to emulate it.
The only thing I want to be judged for is how my sons turn out.
Yep.
They are my legacy.
It's the only end result I care
And
about.
I took it seriously because my dad's dad died when he was 4 of tuberculosis. Then his mom died 2 years later. So
Oh.
they were all orphaned. And so my whole family was broken up. And I just felt this sense of responsibility as the only son left of my bloodline from Ireland, which is why they're going to plant me back in Ireland. I'm so excited about that. That's why I get excited about death, because I think, this what would you call it? Like this fantasy that I have of this full circle event happening, and they get to
Oh.
be there to celebrate dad's this tree. And when they take their grandkids, that's your crazy ass great grandpa.
That's
Here's the
awesome.
videos. Here's the one he broke his back. Here's the one he did mushrooms. You know what I mean?
There's
I
a
just
lot
wanted to
to
know I'm
learn.
human. I didn't take
Yeah.
myself too seriously. That's why these words, I just don't take it too seriously.
I appreciate our friendship because there's so much to learn from this mad scientist.
Mhm.
Like it's the way I
It's
describe
all an
you.
experiment. And I
Yeah.
like the idea of a scientist, because it is. Life is an
You are.
experiment.
You're a
and I'm-
mad scientist.
I do a lot of things wrong, and I try to correct them, but I do it in a feral, foolish kind of way,
Yeah.
I guess.
There's things I don't have I guess I would call it the courage to do the way you do it.
It's ignorance.
But well, it's is it ignorance or
It
is
is.
it pretend ignorance
I
when
don't
it's
know,
convenient?
it's
Huh?
innocence. It is innocence, because I am genuinely curious.
I just don't think his fear to fail is very strong.
No.
Oh, I don't. There's no. There's
No.
There's only one way to fail, and that's
Yeah.
to quit.
Well, and I think those people that have failed enough lose the fear of it. It's like, well, we're gonna get in here, we're gonna knock it out.
No,
Either
I
we're
just-
gonna learn something or we're gonna be partying after.
Yeah, that's why I love Edison. I know
Oh.
1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
That's right.
I know 1,000 ways not to raise a kid.
Mhm.
And
used-
look,
I used
and
to
look
leave-
at what
still
you got.
learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I used to lead with that on my promotion boards. It's like, yeah, you look, I may not always know the right way to do something, but I know 1,000 ways not to do it. So I'm gonna probably get to the right one.
That's experience. That's what experience
Comes
is all
with
about.
experience.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else. Do you guys? And here we
No,
go.
this has
What
been
was
so
gonna
much
talk
fun.
about.
This was
has been
a
great.
really
Thank
good
you.
one.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks
for
for
bringing some
coming, Bill.
masculinity back into the damn podcast. I had a series of females on. Which
I
was
can't
great
wait to
too.
see how Joyce goes. I can't wait to see how you and your
Well,
sons do.
I brought Joy back at the end just to bring some structure back in, because I'm going to have a few podcasts, or at least one that's going to be a little bit chaotic. But it's going to come out this week, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I'm not in that one, but it's fun nonetheless from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's going to be silly.
I'm looking forward to watching.
All right. Well, folks, until next time, so long, friends.
Adios.